Why hello there everyone. Sorry for the long wait, almost over 7 minutes, my goodness. Oh, I was doing shit for way too long. Anyway, I need to do one thing, and that is fixating my microphone. Yeah, everything I do is always in a rush, right? No wonder that I'm Russian. Okay. Today we are doing a little bit of a reaction stream, you know? And I'm doing reaction streams for YouTube, so don't mind me, you know? Okay, let me turn down the music. Because you heard it for long enough. I made myself an energy drink. Just, you know, some gamer subs. So don't be surprised when you hear that. For quite a while. Blowhole Plus is fully in the water. Nice. Whew. Alright. And the first video we will be watching today, it will be Habitual Line Crosser, or as you may know him, HWC. No, I will not call him HLC because that dude will never receive an L in his life. In his YouTube life, at least. For those who don't know, it's a comedy sketches for news channel. No. Wrong phrasing. He's saying news all around the world in funny sketches. And sometimes they are super funny. Oh, I love watching it. I've been watching him for months at this point. So you may don't know the jokes, but I know most of them. Well, not in this video, but his style of videos. Okay, now, video. Oopsie.
All of you, stop. This is ridiculous. Stop waving those flags and trying to cause division here in England.
Shut up, beans on toast. Oh, no. You should have said that with a Muslim accent. Because you are that retarded.
It's ridiculous. What are you talking about? Let's arrest
Oh,
the Union
Scotland! Scotland!
Jack and show them exactly what the United Kingdom is capable of, laddie. That is counterproductive. All you Scots love to do is fight. Aye, we do be picking.
Fighting is what a true nation does, isn't it? Australia was right about it.
Fights all the time. But aye, we do be picking fights all the time. But on the other hand, Scotland!
What
Hell yeah.
the heck is everybody all pissed off over there for? It's just some flags. I mean, come on, man.
Alright.
Besides, they all look like pride flags to me anyway.
The problem is, the individuals waving these flags have been tied to certain alt-right groups and they're vandalizing things, and they think that it is the immigrants that are coming after their English way of life.
Because they are. Because they are coming for the lives of the Englishmen. They have no place in the England.
I mean, come on. You all got to be with me here. It's ridiculous.
No, it's not.
Let me ask all the people who have come into my country waving foreign flags in protest.
Oh, that's right. They are in prison.
I don't have that fucking problem. Poland's got a point. Assimilation is kind of the name of the game. I mean, for example, if I was like, hey, I want to become part of the United Kingdom, which is laughable in general.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would have to give up like my Second Amendment, and then you guys are giving up a lot of, you know, your First Amendment rights and pretty much every other right. I would have to assimilate to your culture, which that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Don't forget the TV license.
Oh, what's up, kid?
God, that'd be so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
A fucking TV license for watching anything on TV. What was that? 176 fund sterling in per month or per year, whatever. For those who do not know, It's like over $200 in a year or in a month. In my eyes, as an Israeli, it's over 700 shekels, which is a ridiculous price, to be honest with you.
Imagine like, oh, I want to watch Judge Judy. Oh, my license is out of date. Let me head to the Department of Television. Go stand in line for 3 hours. That's stupid.
Also that, but the fact that you must have a license for a big screen to watch anything on that big screen, fucking ridiculous. What the fuck, man? Seriously. What next? License to use a phone? A fucking phone that can be as cheap as $100 phone? But it will be a 200 license per year to use a phone that maybe costed you $100. The cheapest ones. The good ones start with like $200-300. And you put on top of that a fucking license, a tax. Beans on toast, you're fucking ridiculous.
Kid's got a point. Back me up on this, Canada. Oh, times are changing here, bud. We kind of put out to our people that if somebody's going to do a home invasion, you might as well comply with them because it's probably safer for you and everybody involved.
Excuse me?
Oh, okay. Wait for it. You mean comply like you did in World War One? You know, you threw the food to the Germans, and then you threw grenades at them after you baited them in, right? Like that type of deal. Like you comply, and then when they're through the door, get them with the garrote.
Yeah,
Maybe.
no, dear bud. Just comply.
You serious?
You know, they just want your stuff most of the time.
We need Florida in this one. You know that I think that was either a deputy or some sheriff of some Florida county that was saying, if somebody wants to home invade you, give him a 12-gauge slug.
What in the pansy ass snow monkeys happened to you fuckers? Oh my god, your fall from grace is insane. You used to add shit
Yep.
to the Geneva checklist like every other goddamn day. Well, what happened, man? Is it contagious? Do we have to dig a channel between you and us? That's fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, full agree.
I don't know how to deal with this. Does that mean you're... Are you okay with home invasions? Like, is that just like, hey, let's be nice to the... What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Times change, and we got to change with them too. We got to make sure that, you know, some of these people are just not in their right mind, and they don't deserve to die just for going into somebody else's house there.
Oh, so you're saying to me that their life is more important than my stuff. I disagree with you on that one.
Yeah, that's cool. So anyways, I started blasting.
Yep.
Buff, as much as you embody the American spirit, I genuinely feel like you're a little too excited about this.
Honestly, at that point, my only fear is just going a little too far overboard. Like when the cops show up, like, okay, Mr. Buff, just a couple of questions. We understand that the individual is trying to get into your house, but they have 340 gunshot wounds. And I'd be like, well, yeah, I panicked. That's kind of when all my guns went click. So that's how that happened. And I'd be like, okay, next question. There's a fork sticking out of his eye. And I'd be like, well, yeah, he's
What?
still moving. You know, and then I'd be like, okay, last question. He tested positive for a sexual assault kit. And that's when I'd go, temporary insanity.
Ew.
You.
For me, the hardest part during a home invasion is pretending I'm not excited.
Am I reading this correctly, America? That
Oh, what now?
the cartels are now starting to use drones and IEDs?
Oh, what?
Yeah, I heard about that too. I don't know what it is with desert people, man. As soon as people in the desert start fighting, IEDs show up like Thanos. I am inevitable.
Fuck.
A compass call flying over Mexico would do the funniest thing.
Wait,
A
what?
compass call flying over Mexico would do the funniest thing.
Okay, I don't know what that means. But okay.
You're not kidding. For those of you who didn't get that joke,
Me? I didn't get it.
Compass Call is an electronic warfare aircraft used by the United States military, and it's to combat IEDs and things like that. And what it does is as it flies over everything underneath it for a undisclosed amount of range, it completes the signal. It opens every garage door. It calls every cell phone. Everything that has a wireless ability to transmit, it completes. So
My
wireless
God.
IEDs are all set off
Just everything will blow up.
simultaneously. I also see thing underneath.
One more time. I need to listen to it one more time because my ADHD might be vital for that one.
And it's to combat IEDs and things like that. And what it does is, as it flies over everything underneath it for a undisclosed amount of range, it completes the signal. It opens every garage door. It calls every cell phone. Everything that has a wireless ability to transmit, it completes. So
My God.
wireless IEDs are all set off simultaneously. I also hear that you have put out
Oh, look at that. These sandal fuckers are here.
in a contract for low-cost interceptors, America.
Oh?
$750,000 each.
Remind me, what is the yearly budget for the Department of War? Because yeah, they recently, literally yesterday I think they changed the name of the Department of Defense, DoD, to the Department of War, DOW. Fucking based. What's the budget of the Department of War? Tell me that, sandal fucker. Tell me, what's the budget? Let me give you a hint. It starts with a fucking T.
How is that low cost?
That's a weird way of telling the world you're a broke ass bitch, Iran.
Well, while I did just award a like $9 billion contract to Lockheed
Wow.
Martin so that they could
Holy.
build more interceptors, I'm looking for cheaper interceptors. And they're kind of expensive because, I mean, ultimately you're shooting a bullet with a bullet in the air. But since you can make low-cost, shitty missiles, I need a way to combat that. $750,000 is a whole lot cheaper than like $5 to $10 million a shot.
We pay for
Damn.
missiles with money instead of goats and chai boys, which coincidentally are used the exact same way in your country.
Damn.
Took a page out of your book, Uncle Sam. You know how you said that I couldn't use your weapons to fire into Russia?
Oh?
Yes, I'm here for the workaround. So the company that made my Flamingo missile has now started to test and potentially produce 2 ballistic missiles, one called the FP7,
Mm-hmm.
which has a max range of like 200 kilometers, max speed of like 1,500 meters a second.
Not bad.
And
1.5 kilometers a second. Damn, that's fucking fast, if you think about it.
the FP9, which has a max range of 800 kilometers
Oh?
and a max speed of 2,200 kilometers a second.
Kilometers a second. Over 2 kilometers a second. That's fucking fast as fuck. Let me look up a second. Is 2 km a second? How fast is 2 kilometers a second? Let's look it up quickly, because I am interested. No, that's the. Wait, 2 kilometers. Let's just multiply it. 2 kilometers a second. Multiply it by 60. It will be like 120 kilometers a minute. 120 kilometers a minute. Give me, where's my calculator? 120 kilometers a minute. Multiply by 60, you will get 7,200 kilometers per hour. km2 Mach per hour. Mach 6.8. It's faster than a fucking hypersonic. Well, a standard camp hypersonic, if I'm right about it. Max 6 to 7, fucking hell.
you, you want the world to just believe that you're developing a hypersonic like me? It's not a hypersonic because it's not hypersonic in its terminal phase. Just like your
Yep,
Kinzel
right.
and everything else you say that is hypersonic. Just
Yeah, well, technically, most of its stages, he's a hypersonic guy. He's the missile and radar guy. I will let him speak. Once again.
developing a hypersonic like me? It's not a hypersonic because it's not hypersonic in its terminal phase. Just like your Kinzel and everything else you say that is hypersonic. Just because it goes over 1.6 kilometers per second while it's at its apogee doesn't mean it does it in the terminal phase.
What the fuck? I get wet with the thoughts of your tears run down my. Who the fuck are you? What the fuck? Also, why the hell? I will fix the chat later, but what the fuck? Excuse me, I am allergic to bots, you know. Give me a minute. I will ban this shit show, this shit face. Yeah, that clearly a bot account. Okay, and now our eyes are cleared from this. Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
So I'm going off the American standard, which means it's not hypersonic, which means your shit is not hypersonic. I'm not following. It go faster, make it hypersonic. I mean, so you say. What should be more concerning to you is, remember how I said maximum range of 800 kilometers? I'm going to get somebody.
Wait, 800, it's like... This shit can go to Moscow, right?
Good with numbers. Hey, F-35, do me a favor. How far is it from Kyiv to Moscow?
It's around 600 kilometers, right?
From city center to city center, roughly 560 something kilometers. But edge of city to edge of city, you're looking at around 500.
Yep.
Thank you. Is 800 more than 500, Russia? No, get me a piece of paper real quick. I write this down.
Slavic Special Ed just proves its own name. Fucking hell.
Uncle Sam called it a workaround, but I got a different around that you're gonna give to Russia.
As much as I do love new technology,
Fucking buff.
we could have peace between you two. And what, give up all my gains in Ukraine?
Yes, because you are a shithead and you... Oh, the amount of troops you lost. How many losses are there, Russia? Is it over 1 million already?
Fuck no. I'm not giving up my land for that douche canoe. Okay, fine, fuck it, kill each other. All right, we'll move on. Google is opening a new department that instead of working defensively to combat hacking, they're going to start working offensively.
What?
If they find somebody who's trying to do things to them, they're going to get them first.
Ah, a good idea. Yeah, I'm all for it. Bust the hacker, no more hackers. Great logic.
Ah, finally, the dorks got my letters. Oh, shit, man, this cyber stuff is all confusing. The best defense
Hell
is
yeah.
a good offense.
Hell yeah.
Although they are using a whole lot less explosive than I specifically stated.
John from Microsoft about to have a rough fucking day. Although it could be a lot worse. I agree with Grandpa Buff on this one. What are you doing?
What's
You
happening
know that
now?
That brings so much money into my country. No! You scam my people and then you're in bed with two of the largest aggressor nations to the United States.
Yeah, the Indians have scammed me too for $250. Yeah. I will have to explain it one day, but I almost lost my Twitter account because of that. Whatever.
On the planet. How you're not an enemy, I'll never understand. Pharmaceutical industry. Follow the fucking money.
Yep.
It's funny, when you said that they were in bed with the enemy, I kind of had a mental image there, and I was like, man, that must be a big bed, because Xi Jinping, he's a stout motherfucker. But then I thought, oh, I wonder if Putin just sleeps at the foot of the bed like the man that he is.
Well, I guess that.
If Putin just sleeps at the foot of the bed like the manlet he is.
Well, I guess that about wraps this episode up, don't you think, guys?
Is there anything
Wrong.
on?
You're forgetting. I don't want to see elephant in the room because the kid will make another fucking joke about him hanging out with elephants.
No. I'm meeting with the squirrels today for the Hanger Peace Accords.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. The drug boat out of Venezuela.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I heard the news too, if I'm not mistaken. Uncle Sam just blew up the boat. Just literally. Bing!
And as of right now, we have no idea what type of munition was used on the drug boat. But I have a bit of a hot take, and it's good comedic timing, so I'm going to run it. And I do genuinely believe that it could have been used.
What was used?
Roll it. Row your boat gently across the ocean to give Americans drugs. Merrily, 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 merrily. Come.
The fucking laser? Holy fuck. Dude, look at it, please. I will look it up later. Give me a minute.
Did you really use a laser on a fucking boat? I mean, I watched the video frame by frame, and unless they cut something out of there, you don't see an object close with the boat like you would with a regular round or a missile. Plus, you don't really see any splashes around the boat like you would from the fragmentation of the delivery system. If you targeted some of the gas cans on board, it makes sense. Plus, it's good field testing. How can you even be sure that those were drug runners and not just people looking for a better life? Not only do I know, but I'm relatively sure. Plus, that boat touched the water that my boats are in. So if you infer enough there, it's pretty much equal to touching my boats. The looseness of your rules of engagement I find concerning.
I find your lack of spine and overall bitchness concerning, but
Exactly.
Don't care what you think. Bad guys are dead, good guys win. All right, fuck you. End of story.
Fully agreed. Is there more? No, there is no more. Okay. That was a good one. That was a fucking great one. Okay, let me see. What did you send to me to Twitch chat? Ah, you fucking serious? A Friday night funkin'... Friday night funkin' video, you serious? I'm not watching this shit. No, it's just an FNF mod and... Nah, I grew out of that phase years ago. Anyway, this video is done. Let's go to the next series of videos because we will be watching 2 in one go. And it's about the VTuber group called The Wizards. Mod name? I'm not watching it. Sorry, but... Sorry, but I'm not watching... Okay, look. I'm not... First of all, I'm not even sure if that is Twitch friendly, to be honest. I don't think that was Twitch friendly. Anyway, a video about the most controversial FNAF fucking VTuber group, the Wizards. Oh, I hate them with... I don't really hate the group. No. There are certain people who are basically the bane of the group. Anyway, this is a 2-part by Royalty is Here. Oh, that will be a funny one.
Sup, VTubers.
Welcome to the club.
Yes, welcome back to the trough. I hope you aren't that malnourished. I think it's been around 2 months or something since I last talked about a virtual 3D or 2D female. I say female because male VTubers are essentially, unfortunately, the support characters that have a single digit of screen time at this point,
Yeah.
and the conclusion of their character is getting ganked off camera. Once again, you
Sadly.
can't name me 5 male VTubers in 10 seconds.
Uh, uh, me?
Sorry, I'm not waiting that long. I already know you can't name them. But that's not me discrediting their efforts, but compared to their female counterpart, for one reason or another, probably due to the dual-wielded howitzers most have equipped,
Yeah.
that comes with the unfortunate side effect of a primary portion of your viewers testing the amount of friction they can generate from their cocktail sausage, whilst leveling up their one-handed skill, and probably developing a somewhat unhealthy parasocial relationship
Ew.
with said VTuber, only to be severely disappointed by the amount of times that one prophecy has come true. But yeah, most of the limelight is
wait, what
severely
was-
disappointed by the amount of times that one
A lot of indie VTubers always has boyfriends. I'm right. I remember this one. Yeah. Yeah, that's a thing.
prophecy has come true, but yeah, most of the limelight tends to be on the female VTubers most of the time. However, despite only a short time ago being freshly introduced to this form of media, and initially thinking this would be a fad that quickly died out, before delving into the honor hole of hell and involuntarily being educated in all the eldritch horrors the VTubing community had to offer, I quite like
Yeah.
VTubers now, even if saying that out loud.
Wait, what?
VTubing community had to offer, I quite like VTubers now,
Oh,
even if
really?
saying that out loud. Shares the same feeling as consuming arsenic. I like
Ew.
VTubers and how far they've come from their early conception in the late 2010s. And this medium has been used as a vehicle for so many different
God
unique
damn.
avenues. You have AI VTubers.
Can you be nice to me?
I think Neurosama is the only AI VTuber, as far as I know. Maybe there is one or two more, but no, Nero is pretty much the only one. And the only successful one. Because of the tutorial.
Me again? I liked it better when you were nice to me.
Well, that's a shame because I'm not nice to you anymore. Nobody likes you anyway. Nobody likes you at all.
In Clanker, you have a range of VTubers that express themselves in their own art style and personality.
Whoever left the footprints behind was barefoot. Oh, yeah. The
Oh,
prints are
fuck.
large and wide. Oh, yeah. Perhaps indicating they were left by a man. Aww.
Your VTubers
Oh.
pushing the technological boundaries and are constantly evolving. And then you have whatever the this is.
Praise. Wow, beautiful.
Chibi Doki. I don't really
Well,
watch them.
guys, maybe there is a purpose to life outside of jerking my penis to Judy Hopps' scalp.
What?
Wow. Jesus was right.
Even the French have their own VTuber now, and they play War Thunder. What a double negative. Yes, I was wrong about VTubers initially. They aren't a passing fad. They are certainly here to stay and are only going to grow as the years go on. With more
Yes, VTubers are here forever. We are the evolution of the PNG tubers who were popular in the early 10s.
personalities, capabilities, and quite
Oh, right. That's... Pecor in Death Stranding 2. Holy shit.
possibly more controversies. As in
Oh.
this year alone, VTubing could not catch a break. It was one
Every month.
discombobulation after another. The VTubing community is going through its own Horus heresy right now in terms of events. You had the whole Cinder situation, Gura graduating due to complications with her agency, which left her fans more upset than, I don't know, being time-bomb trolled on COD Zombies, only for her to come back shortly after, and more recently
Yep.
the whole implosion of the VTubing agency VShojo, one that was previously revered for being one of the best agencies that specialized in VTubing related entertainment, with
That turned out to be pretty much the worst of them. If you don't include Nichi-Sanji into it. But I think even Nichi-Sanji is not as bad as Vishojo was. Jury is still on that one. I didn't watch the Mujin video yet.
a range of successful talent, but it turns out there were only a few expired NDAs away from the horrible truth of the agency being revealed. From
Yep.
improper management and fund management, especially with money raised for charities, to treating the talent themselves quite poorly, which led to the prompt mass exodus of most of its talent and the ultimate end
I think at this point is all of them. Vishojo has no talent left anymore.
to VShojo, one of the few remaining bastions of the corporate VTubing world, and is another reminder that just because something looks highly functional and remarkable on the front, doesn't mean the same thing can be said from behind the scenes. As we've learned
Yep.
a number of times in the VTubing community alone, but this video isn't about VShojo or a VTubing agency at all. It is more
Thank God, because if it was, it would have taken a while.
Or about a COD Clan-like group of VTubers that seem to have found themselves in hot water, from simply the name of the group to the actions of the members, all of which after only formally existing for a few weeks now, and they have most certainly obtained the speedrunning world record for a number of potential career-ending controversies in such a short amount of time. But the one group I wanted to talk about today is the VTubing group VTards.
I'm a good little piggy who eats from a trough. Oink, oink, oink. I love my slop.
Now obviously naming your group VTards seemingly
It's already a bad idea. From the start.
out of the gate would definitely expose you to some level of backlash. I
Yep.
personally think the word they are insinuating here has been so overused, I'm somewhat desensitized at this point. It just doesn't hold the same weight it did 10 years ago, at least in my opinion. I personally would be more offended if somebody called me a homo habilis, but the word obviously does have a history to it as well, and people do get
Damn.
offended when it is used.
There's literally a video group called VTards. All their members are all ableist, transphobic, racist, and one even uses alright, maybe he blurred this section, but whatever. But I'm the wrong one for saying that retard is a slur against mentally disabled people. Well, I don't have a house in that one.
But simply just the name wasn't the only reason people's heads turned at the
Yeah, there isn't also some of the members. For example, Akemi, who and alright, and Kitsura 9s, yeah. Akemi was questionable from the start because she wasn't nice to many people. She was pretty much transphobic. Not pretty much, to be honest. She was super transphobic. And while I agree with some of her takes, and while I agree that the action that were taken against her were extreme, I don't agree with most of her views. And Kitsura Nice, she's a literal Nazi. That's not even a joke.
site of this newly formed.
And Shiro 1, she's kinda alright. She's just based, just default based, just like, and Nachi Sumiko, she's okay. I follow her on Twitter, and she's kinda a nice person. I have no idea why she was in the VTards group. Just like Shiro, I have no idea why they were there. And when they go, who the fuck is that?
Formed group. The group officially formed on July 9th, with 5 group members, and within the announcement tweet, they provide a short, basic description of their group, which was a female VTuber group currently comprised of 5 based anime girl VTubers who aren't afraid to speak their mind and go against what is deemed politically correct. Now, as I've said previously, politics is not my strong point.
And it should not be, to be honest. Because politics, nobody is strong enough in the politics.
Probably one of my lowest stats alongside cardio, because f cardio, you can probably burn just as much calories weight training, and if not, f you anyway, I'm still not using the Stairmaster. But anyway, the definition of being politically correct was lost on me, but I quickly found out it basically meant to avoid being offensive in most ways. The more you know, I guess.
Honestly, I'm not a friend about being offensive to some softy pitches, but I mean, fuck, I need to reload my brain. I don't have anything against being politically incorrect. It's just the way they were. They were super mean about it. Fuck. My brain needs a seriously reloading. One more time. I don't have a problem of being politically incorrect or just being offensive to some softies. I have a trouble with being just super hateful about it. I mean, you can be like offensive a little bit, but don't go too far. Yeah, that's my point.
Out of the gate, it would appear this group had the goal of being as unapologetic and honest to themselves as possible, but the reason this
Which I don't have an issue about. Holy fuck, this woman is ugly.
announcement seemed to turn a lot of heads and cause somewhat of a stir in the VTuber community, to the point where the tweet went viral, but not just because of the name of the group. It was
And that's for all the wrong reasons, to be honest.
down to some of the participants of the group and their activities. In hindsight, the first tweet was probably a warning. The first, probably most alarming feature of the group is the fact that one of them is a version of Hatsune Miku that
Yeah.
self-identifies as a member of a not-so-nice German party during the event of World War II, and I don't know if YouTube lets me say the word, but they are openly a Nazi, and
Oh.
I think at this point they aren't joking about this. And
Yeah, she wasn't joking about that one.
doing this unironically at this point, at least to my knowledge, unless they're playing the long game of 4D chess, which is a terrible game, and their VTuber avatar is Hatsune
He just showed a screenshot of 5D chess, which is even more stupid.
Miku dressed in full SS gear and going by the name Nachisu Miku, and sharing most of the rhetoric that one would expect from someone identifying as a Nazi.
Listen up, you filthy take a Q-tip for once in your goddamn life and
Okay. First of all, that model... Fucking hell, this model is... What's wrong with the face? Like, it's not fully finished. I know I'm one to talk because my model is even worse than that. But what the fuck, man?
clean your fucking ears and listen up. We gotta send all the niggas back to Africa. Total death. All you stupid niggas. I want you out of my country.
With many controversial tweets, and some are just straight up posts.
Yeah, that's... EU.
I don't know why.
No,
this kind
no. Miko is blue. She will never be red.
reminds me of that one Black Templars meme.
Don't join the Black Templars!
Oh mein Gott!
What the
Der
fuck?
Codex Astartes ist
Ein Bunch of Bullscheiße.
She does in fact
What?
clarify later on as a Nazi she doesn't agree with killing people, but she does agree with everything else and Nazi ideology, and clarifies
Which, if you don't know, also relate of killing people you don't like with the Nazi ideology. Yep. So she still supports that.
she is not joking. And she also goes on to defend some of her other members, saying she is the only one that believes this line of thinking, and just because she's in a group of people does not mean they fully believe the same thing she does.
Are you sure about that? Are you really sure about that? Because I know at least one member who agrees with you.
Simply due to association, and that they all believe things differently but can still somewhat coexist together, which I assume is to deter people thinking that the other members are Nazis as well, and that they don't believe exactly what she believes, which was sort of proven true a bit later.
Yeah, that was proven true. At least 2 or 3 people didn't agree with her, and because of that they are tipped. But there at least one member who did agree with her.
On. But yeah, we got a Nazi VTuber before a VTuber that is just pure foreskin. Wouldn't have imagined it. As said before, this group got a lot of attention overnight, primarily due to the name of the group and one of them being a Nazi, but they were pushed to the forefront of discussion in the VTubing community just from their announcement tweet alone, which may have been their intention from the start, as their group has stated in the past, stating with this group they intend to push social norms, which they have seemingly succeeded with fresh out of Spawn. They received both backlash and some degree of support with an increase in viewership across most of their channels from this, but then again we've only talked about just one member. What about the other people a part of the group? The other members are Kami Kurai, Sure1 Kitsune Nines, and Saturn Senshi. First you have Kemi, who initially debuted on October 13th, 2023, and is a vampire cat who had some restrictions applied to their Discord account after...
How can you get restrictions and or even a ban on Discord? You must have done some just diabolical shit for that.
breaking the rules, which I've personally never seen before. They are
Yeah.
seemingly the leader or the founder of VTards. And as said before, just because they're in a group with Red Miku, it doesn't mean they share the same ideology as they've stated themselves. But once again, as they warned in their first tweet announcing the group, they all mostly do the same thing. Most of them
Yeah.
have opinions and controversial takes, with many labeling them transphobic, homophobic, and racist, and have angered one group or another, but that is essentially VTards, who are probably the most controversial VTubing group as of right now. If we were ranking them, they would probably be in Grandmaster by now, and they have most certainly achieved their goal of pushing against social norms with the amount of discourse they've caused, just in the VTubing space alone. Obviously,
Yeah.
the only reason they are seeing so much attention is due to that controversial nature as a group, and without that, with the thousands of VTubers that exist, it would be hard for them to stand out individually, or even as a group. And if they
I mean, standing out in general is not a bad idea, but the way that you stand out in, it's not worth it. No, it's not.
they intended this or not, this has put them in the spotlight as of right now, even though they've only existed for around a month, and there's a possibility it's just very successful rage bait, and they might not believe what they preach. But even with this
Yeah.
group only existing within a short time frame, it would already see some internal fighting. So as said, after only existing at most a week, the group already had their own infighting, which was somewhat confusing to say the least, and led some people to assume the group was already crumbling apart. The conflict mainly centered around Shiro, who is a dog girl VTuber that debuted in July 18th, 2023. Now
Damn.
the thing with Shiro was she was a bit different from the rest. No, people still thought she was just as controversial as the other members, but apparently they were different in the way where they were the only one that thought the whole Red Miku thing was a little joke, a little whimsical comedy if you will, and they thought everything
Yeah.
Red Miku was doing was satirical at best. Which you would think before joining the group you would confirm such a thing, or at least learn a bit more about the people you are in a group with beforehand, but it seems the group and some of its members may have been just slapped together with duct tape, with some members not fully knowing each other, but that's just my game theory.
I think that game theory was pretty much correct because fuck, my brain is hurting now, even after drinking an energy drink. Okay. If they really didn't know each other, no wonder that group fell down faster than Concord.
But Shiro no longer wanted to be a part of the group after only a few days from their
Oh, by the way, Shiro. Shiro is a lolicon. Yeah. Nazi versus lolicon. Fucking battle of the century.
official debut tweet, but it doesn't end there, because for some reason they continue to talk about the situation when the following probably could have been handled privately, no matter the reputation of the group, and all hell proceeded to break loose, even though it probably already did, once again, Red Miku. But even though Shiro could have left things there, said her piece and moved on, she continues by providing screenshots of Discord DMs between her and Miku where they would seem to be having a disagreement which would start a conflict labelled on Twitter as the Red Miku versus Lolicon conflict, where they were discussing an artist that made some really weird images of Annie.
Oh yeah, I know what was there. It was what was her name? The pink-haired girl from Spy X Family. Sorry, I didn't watch the anime and I forgot the name of that character. Give me a minute. What's the name of the child? Oh, Anya. Yeah, her name was Anya. Yeah, that was a photo of Anya in some not safe for work art of Anya. Yeah, it was this type of shit, or was it safe for work? Anyway, that was That was a sexual image, sexual art of Anya, which I will never, I don't, and I will never condone that shit. That is fucked. That is pedo stuff, not lolicon stuff.
Anya from Spy X Family, and that's the nice artist that made some really weird images of Anya from Spy X Family.
He said it for me. Oopsie.
And that's the nicest way of saying it. And Miku had a problem with it, of which Shira disagrees with them, and they remind them that they agree with Nazi ideology, but this is where they draw the line. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why they would leak these DMs except for worrying that they would be used against them later on. But it proceeds to continue with the rest of the group siding with Miku and ultimately Shira leaving, and they uploaded a newer version of their group art without hair. And what happens next?
Oh yeah,
is
wait
Shira
a
leaving,
wait a
and they
fucking
uploaded
second. That's a fucking AI image.
a newer version of
Yeah, that's an AI image. I'm sorry, but yeah, I can see it.
their group art without hair. And what happens next is basically high school level drama, so prepare yourself.
High school level drama drawn into the extreme.
And makes a tweet basically saying they wish them the best, of which Shira responds. The leader Akami apparently was talking bad about Shira after she left, of which Akami responded by saying, "You did it first." And then Shira attaches a screenshot where Akami is talking about her personal life, after Shira told her own fans not to do anything to the other members. Other members
Serious?
start to shit on her as well, and then Akami goes on to talk about how Shira talked badly about her BPD, and yeah, I'm fucking done at this point. It's basically like Chinese whispers.
Okay, that was funny.
Follow at this point was Shira left. People kind of laughed that the VTuber group was over, of which it wasn't. It's still running to this day, only one person left.
8 days since they posted this, and they're already breaking apart. And then follows it up saying that muting this not as a statement, but for my own mental health. Please remember that behind the screen is a real person just like you. Think about that before you respond to people, which, God, the fucking irony, audacity.
Yeah.
I don't even know. But the fact that you say this, think about that before you respond to people. You know, there are real people behind the screen.
Don't be a shithead first. then we will talk.
You, of all people, are saying that.
People found it funny that for a group that was supposed to be so based or controversial would have their feelings hurt by someone talking about their BPD, with people expecting their tolerance to be somewhat higher. But in the current day, things have changed. Red Miku got banned off Twitter as of right now.
And then she came back, and I think she got banned again. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And then just promptly made a new one. Akami was getting
yeah.
a lot of threats, so they protected their account, so you have to follow to see her tweets, which obviously you shouldn't do. You shouldn't fight fire with fire, especially if you disagree with these people in this group. But the group is functioning just as normal. They only lost one person. In conclusion, the forming of such a group was going to eventually happen anyway, and you've also had individual VTubers on the same level in the past.
Oh, I remember this idiot, yeah. Also saw the video by Mujin. Fucking retard.
VTubing is a vehicle anyone can drive nowadays. It's probably a lot easier to be a VTuber now than it has ever been. There's countless artists out there that will create you a model for extortionate prices, and countless pieces of software made to now aid you in VTubing. Whereas around the start, most of this didn't exist, and thanks to this, you now have a range of VTubers that without these facts also wouldn't exist, especially in the case of indie VTubers. VTubing has evolved and got so popular to the point where, yeah, you are going to start seeing things like this, because that is relatively normal when a form of media gets so popular and easily accessible to do it yourself. And gatekeeping this medium won't help either. In regards to VTads, I may be crazy, but they are nowhere near done. I think some people are even requesting to join the group, but they are still going, and who knows, maybe they will change their reputation around. The other members, I don't know about Red Miku. But yeah, that is just a small topic I wanted to talk about quickly, and if you remember this picture and the music that went along with it, you're old. Also,
excuse me, I'm 21, I'm not old. I was watching this shit as a child.
you, Smugalana. No matter how many music that went along with it, you're old. Also, fuck you, Smugalana. No matter how many times I counter the claims, the misinformation on the femboy and fairy allegations persist. I hope you stub your toe. But yeah,
What? I'm sorry, you fucking hedgehog. Fuck you. Alana is a wonderful person. Fuck you. Okay, next video.
that's all I wanted to say, and bye-bye.
Bye bye, and the next video, the downfall of this controversial group. And give me a second. How fast was it? The first video was from like, what, 4 weeks ago? Oh fuck, Opera. Wait, where is it? Yeah, the first video was from 4 weeks ago. This one, 8 days ago. Fucking hell.
And gatekeeping this medium won't help either. In regards to VTADs, I may be crazy, but they are nowhere near done. I think some people are even requesting to join
Give me a second, I almost forgot about the volume.
the group. But they are still going, and who knows, maybe they will change their reputation around. The other members, I don't know about Red Miku. But yeah, that is just a small topic I wanted to talk about quickly. And if you remember this picture and the music...
Yeah, he was fucking wrong. Wrong.
Damn, that guy sounds pretty intelligent, and most of his predictions must be correct a majority of the time, and his cock must be at least 2-foot-long meatball marinara subs wide. That's the best order from Subway, by the way, obviously except the steak and cheese. But that's me, if you couldn't tell. And I was talking about the VTubing group VTADs, a group that somewhat shook the VTubing community upon its conception and announcement tweet, simply from the name alone, which not everyone agreed with, but a majority of people were a lot more offended by something even worse. That being one of the 5 members being a version of Hatsune Miku, and agrees with and expresses Nazi ideology openly.
Listen up, you filthy
Shut
Take
up.
a Q-tip for once in your goddamn life and clean your fucking ears. And listen up. We gotta send all the niggas back to Africa. Total death. All you stupid niggas. I want you out of my country.
And whilst
What
the
a
other
piece of
members
shit.
were nowhere near being Nazis, they were not afraid to speak their mind, with a lot of participants publishing tweets that many saw as controversial.
I mean, Nines is not wrong about this one. She's super right. I agree with her on that one. Game Month. Shiro also right, because Game Month is bullshit. Saturn Senshi. I said Islam is as a religion of... I said Islam as a religion of evil, and I'm disappointed that she's a Christian woman tries to defend it. She probably responded to somebody, but she's right. Islam... Ooh, Islam is a piece of shit. I mean, Asmon Gold said once that Islam is inferior as a religion to every other global religion, like Judaism, Christianity, and whatnot. And he was right about that. If you look into Islam, holy fuck, this religion is just... It's stuck in the 7th century, not even in the 4th century, because the other religions, they at least evolved and become more friendly towards others. Islam, no. Islam is violence upon violence, and I will never understand people that will defend this piece of shit. And that's not because I am a Jew, that's because I have a brain.
Now, in my previous video, we talked about the conception of the group, the people within it, and a bit of their past, and the infighting that occurred in the Nazi versus Lolicon arc of the group, resulting in the messy exodus of one of the members, where for some reason they all jumped on Twitter to fling shit at each other, and it was mainly between the person that left and the people still within the group. Like some speaking about each other's personal lives behind the scenes, and some speaking about each other's bipolar disorder, which left a lot of people thinking...
And no wonder that Akemi has a fucking PPD. No wonder she's a piece of shit.
For a group that set out to push social norms and had such controversial takes, why do they have such thin skin when it came to things like people talking about them behind the scenes?
Exactly.
And that is what my video covered. ending with a prediction that just because one member of the group left, it doesn't mean the group is over.
Nah.
Potentially, maybe the
Nah,
group
and he was wrong about it because turns out that this group was a fucking glass house or even a card house in a fucking storm.
will be able to salvage their reputation. The other members not Red Miku. Now, I will preface this by saying I was half right in that prediction, so fuck you, but I was not completely
Not
right
really.
because I was either third-partied by Fate itself or the Lord above, because as soon as I posted that video, I was bent over and my asshole was used like a natural colander, primarily because as soon as the video was uploaded, like maybe 3 hours later, things surrounding the group got significantly worse. Like, I mean,
Really?
completely imploded. Got the whole Doctor Who Series 14 treatment, or more accurately, the Fallout Brotherhood of Steel handling. So basically, the situation with the group got worse, and my video was made immediately outdated within a few hours after uploading. Yes,
Yep.
it was a premature ejaculation, not the first time, but what possibly could have happened?
I've said this a few times. Like, and it's not a voice changer, it's a voice modifier. So it doesn't
Yeah, and oh fuck, if that was the Red Miko, sheesh, her voice is even worse than mine. What the fuck, man?
sound that different from my voice, but
So probably the first thing is with Red Miku or Nachisu Miku, the one that is supposedly a Nazi and once again advertises a lot of the ideology a Nazi would. Now something strange occurred with Red Miku. Some
Really?
people didn't entirely believe they were a Nazi or racist. Even people that sympathized with their racist beliefs and Nazi beliefs were expressing they did not like this VTuber and didn't think they were actually any of the things they were saying. There's one event in particular in an interview with Red Miku from the YouTuber Godfast where they ask if they have read a particular book written directly by a certain
Oh.
Austrian painter.
Wait, she did?
And it's what many people that believed what he believed read.
I have not. I know what it means, but no, I haven't read that.
So you just... Wait, to be honest, I didn't read the book either, but... If you place yourself as a Nazi, you need to at least understand what Nazi means, right? Because if you don't, you're a fucking retard.
You haven't read my
I should.
and you're like this you're like the biggest like the most far right extremist Miku and you haven't read it?
She didn't?
I'm sure I've seen excerpts from it, but no, I've never read the whole thing.
Jeez, okay.
So at this point you had people that disagreed with everything Red Miku was saying, and
So she was a Nazi for clout. Is that right? Being a Nazi for clout? Damn, what an idiot.
people that you would think would be supporting Red Miku both hate her, and Red Miku is also not liked by people on other platforms, like 4chan and Kiwi Farms.
Oh,
But
no
that
wonder.
joins on to the next part. So Red Miku had a bit of a weird voice. It was somewhat robotic, leading a lot of people to believe they were using a voice changer, or as they call it, a voice modifier. They even
Seriously?
admitted to using it and cemented the
Wait,
fact
what? She was using a voice changer? Fuck, no wonder the voice was shit.
they are in fact a girl. And they only use a voice changer so that their voice cannot be recognized because they say a lot of unhinged stuff. And the voice changer protects them from being recognized.
If I'm not mistaken, there's already a software that can kinda... how do you say it? That can kinda reverse the voice modeling? Or whatever. I think there is a software that can do that. There was a guy that was using Snapchat's spiral image modifier to... Okay, that's a story for another time, but I think most of the people know, but there was a guy who made a software that reversed that image editing software. So yeah, I won't be surprised if there is a software that can already do the same thing with a voice changer.
Okay, now I have to ask this because everyone's wondering. Are you a girl?
Yes.
Are you sure?
No, I'm actually a fat Latino guy who loves tacos No, hey, but why
Okay,
the voice changer?
Okay, that was pretty. I'm pretty sure that was sarcastic in that one.
Why do you think, man? I've said this a few times. Like, and it's not a voice changer, it's a voice modifier. So it doesn't sound that.
Same thing, bitch. It's the same thing. God, I wish I had a voice changer right now. Because I would do something funny with it. I will have to work on that. Maybe in a year or two. I don't know.
That different from my voice, but you know how many threats I'm getting right now? Like, people want to straight up kill me.
I wonder why.
Like, that's why.
I wonder
It's
why.
direct doxing.
But that wasn't all
Yeah, they will dox you out regardless of the voice.
there was to it. Soon the whole picture would be revealed, where it would be discovered that Miku wasn't a girl at all, they were in fact a guy.
What?
So to clarify,
Seriously?
I will be blurring out all the information, even if most of the information is known at this point, and Red Miku themselves have talked about it. But at the start of August, a thread would be made regarding Miku, taking an in-depth dive into who they are, and their existence as Miku on the platform overall.
Seriously?
They would also confirm that Miku is a guy, which was found from a past username on Minecraft, of which they then found an email related to it and then found a picture of their face. And from the
You
same account
serious?
they were able to find their full name, and even additional information about them, such as them being a big fan of Nick Fuentes and
You fucking. No wonder. No wonder he was a fan of Nick. Yeah, I've seen some of the moments from this idiot.
things like their past jobs. They also found out that they took part in the January 6th, 2021 attack on the US Capitol, as
Holy
they had
shit.
previously posted pictures of it on their Facebook, of which they were eventually arrested
Was he the Viking guy? Was he the Viking guy? Because that would be the funniest shit ever.
for, of which shortly after they entered a plea deal, of which they got probation and had to pay restitution. They also suggest that Red Miku is Jewish, of which Red Miku has denied this claim.
That, thank God that he was not Jewish, because that would be the shittiest thing ever for me as a Jew. But even if he was, I would have said he does not represent us. And even I don't really represent the Jewish people. Whatever, I will not go into that, into that landmine, whatever.
To
Next.
this day, but this information was out at this point. It made its way from the forum to multiple other platforms, of which Miku would respond by saying they didn't in fact dox her, it was her brother. I think in an attempt to try and make people think they are still a girl, I guess, or to make people think they got the wrong person. But they even reached out to one of the admins of one of the forums, threatening litigation if it was not removed, which they responded by saying they will not be threatened. All of that
What?
information was from that single thread, but eventually everyone already knew this information and Miku came clean. In their Discord they made an announcement, apologizing that they lied about their gender and reiterating that they are a fan of Miku, and then on Twitter claimed they are an actor and Red Miku is not real, and
Which is good because Miku can be only blue.
they were just playing a character this entire time, and the character has nothing to do with them, and they are not gay, trans, or Jewish. And they made another tweet attempting to clarify why they voiced Miku. They even did a screen where they
Seriously?
would show all the information displayed on these forums about them, without a voice changer this time, seemingly admitting everything.
And for this, I'm actually really glad that they used this.
Holy fuck, that voice. That voice is better. He needs a better mic.
Really nice photo of me. I look fucking great. Look at my black suit. That's a Taylor black suit. I look fucking snazzy as fuck. Yeah, just more of the stuff on my website.
After this, Miku was more open about her identity, even doing interviews after everything was released.
Yeah, it basically started as I just
Why do you still use a voice changer? I think it will be better for you if you just will go with your actual voice at this point. If you were outed. Or was that clip before showing the real voice. Whatever.
Wanted like an alternate account to kind of, post and stuff and just have fun with.
Shoulder.
I had the idea of using an anime profile picture just to be anonymous, and
still to this day streams with the same voice changer. But after all of this, what would
Stupid.
happen to the VTARDs in general? Well, unfortunately, a majority of them would share the same fate as Miku, as they had some of their information doxed as well, and it was found out
Which is... Doxing is evil by default. Whoever doxes anybody is a piece of shit, obviously.
that some in the group, despite having controversial opinions on their VTuber front, behind the scenes potentially they didn't share the same sentiment, and in some cases supported the same thing they were criticizing, which may mean the whole thing about VTards pushing social norms and having all these controversial takes could have been a front for either publicity, which it certainly did do, or maybe they voiced their actual opinions where they can't be criticized behind a VTuber persona. Now, it's still unclear if any of the other members knew Miku was a male, as VTards was supposed to be a group made up of entirely females. Now,
yeah. No wonder they all left.
if they didn't know, it buys into my theory that this group was just put together with tape, and they truly didn't know each other before they launched this group. As we saw in the first few weeks, one member left because they didn't think Miku was actually serious about the things they were saying. But in regards to the status of VTards as of right now, the group no longer exists. Miku decided to leave the group. Members like Saturn and Akuma departed to possibly make another VTuber group together, and they also stated they want to move away from the name VTard and the stigma that follows that name. But they do have some big projects to come, and both are still streaming quite regularly. Regarding Red Miku, after leaving, some fans felt betrayed that it was a dude, not a female, but as said, they still stream with the voice changer. With some of their existing fans that saw no problem with the things they were saying, or that they actually were a guy, still support them in their streams. Nines did not decide to join Akuma or Saturn. She decided to go on her own after everything that happened with VTards.
Good idea.
Information that leaked regarding her. Sherwon, who left early on, is also streaming occasionally and still actively advertises her disagreements with the group, and she also had some of her information leak even if she did leave early. But she also just wants to move on from VTards. So all are still somewhat active despite what happened, and doing their own things. Some still arguing with people on Twitter with their so-called beliefs, I guess. But VTards is over, despite only existing for around a month.
Really? So it lasted a little bit longer than fucking Concord. Okay.
Now, as said in the previous video, this VTuber group mainly garnered notoriety due to first their name, but mainly their controversial opinions, and the fact one of them was a literal Nazi. And if they didn't launch with any of this, the VTuber group would not have been even glanced at, due to the sheer amount of VTubers there are to this day.
Yep. Oh, these two. Cinder, okay, Cinder is Cinder, everybody knows about it, but fucking Nax in this same image. Oh my god.
So if they intended to be controversial or not, and if they truly believed in the causes and opinions they advertised on their platforms or not, they did eventually get that attention and spotlight on them for quite some time, but from that they also received some unwanted attention that ultimately led to their own destruction. Now obviously doxing isn't a good thing, and some could say they flew too close to the sun, but even before all of this, the cracks were starting to show in the group. And I think, in my opinion, yes, that means it's not a stated fact. Just to clarify, these members truly didn't know each other. And as I've said multiple times, they were duct taped together for simply just creating a controversial group that would garner some infamy. And once again, they did succeed in that goal, if it was their goal, but it would have probably ended eventually due to many of them not knowing each other. But that's just my theory. Either way, a lot of the group after VTards are trying to move on. And yes, I will put my third leg back into the fray and predict maybe some will be able to have some form of redemption. Obviously, I'm not including Red Miku, that seems like a losing bet.
And don't include into that Akemi, because she is still a piece of shit, even after that.
But the stain of VTODs is going to follow them for quite a while. That's if they do decide to change their behavior anyway, like a whole Lego Ninjago Lord Garmadon redemption arc. But he was
Wow.
black for a few seasons, so they probably won't like that. But they
Okay.
would have quite an uphill battle to do that. And once again, that's if they want to. But yeah, that's all I had to say, and bye-bye.
Bye bye, and Withered Swords. Shitty, what the fuck is that? Most loved with sauce. Okay, never mind. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next video. And this is something I'm really interested in. Lockheed's insane attack carrier, the CL-2001. And yeah, that's a big fucking boy, look at it. For those who don't know, that's an F-4 Phantom II attached to a wing of this ginormous aircraft. Just look at this. I saw Youth Pastor Ryan's short about this. I think that shit was bigger than an entire football field, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's watch. Okay, give me a second. I need to go to the porcelain throne. But in the meantime, here's some music for you. Okay, I am back with a new batch of fucking gamer subs. Okay, let's keep watching.
In 1969, the U.S. government launched one of the most unusual projects in the history of aviation.
Wait, why the fuck? How? I'm sorry, but what the fuck? How did the pilots were going to the Phantom in? Because that is the cockpit area. What is there some like an elevator, a seat elevator for the pilot? Okay, I'm already interested.
It had only two objectives: determine just how large an aircraft could get,
Holy fuck.
demonstrate what it would mean for US air power. Spearheaded by the most secretive company in aviation.
Here is the size. What the fuck? Holy shit.
The result is the Lockheed CL-1201, a project that to this day remains shrouded in mystery. The 1960s saw breathtaking advancements in the field of aerospace. Aircraft were flying faster, higher, and further, and engineers weren't just pushing the limits of speed. Aircraft were getting larger. The newly developed Lockheed C-5 was a massive machine weighing several hundred tons. Its power and range dwarfed...
Yeah, the threat, the fucking ridiculous economic disaster, yeah. Because it was just ridiculously expensive to make.
Anything before it. But it wasn't unrealistic to assume that aircraft could get many times larger. Advances in aerodynamics, exotic new materials, and even new forms of advances in aerodynamics.
X-24 experimental lifting body aircraft. Oh, so it was like a mini... Yeah, I think I realized what it's not.
Exotic new materials.
X-15 experimental hypersonic aircraft. Holy fuck.
And even new forms of propulsion.
NB-46 experimental nuclear-powered aircraft. Damn, I wish that thing succeeded, because a nuclear-powered aircraft would be fucking insane. A nuclear jet aircraft. Sorry, let me rephrase. Let me say that all one more time. A nuclear-powered jet aircraft. That would be fucking insane.
Or just around the corner. Much of the breakneck pace in development was fueled by the Cold War.
Yes.
With the United States and Soviet Union vying to gain the upper hand, huge sums were spent developing spy planes that could fly faster and higher, and bombers that could carry more payload further.
I'm sorry, but I think that was the XB-70, right? The potential successor for the P-52. But what the fuck? That's a fucking goose. It's looking like a fucking goose with canards on it. No wonder it was cancelled, because it was fucking gay because of the canards.
Further, the aim was to reach any corner of the world as quickly as possible. To counter the expansion of Soviet power, the United States maintained a strategy of containment. And that meant maintaining a vast fleet of carrier battle groups that could respond to a crisis anywhere in the world.
Yep.
But as the Cold War intensified throughout the 1960s, no corner of the world seemed safe from Soviet agitation. To respond quickly and decisively, the United States looked to radical new technologies. By the 1960s,
Lockheed Advanced Development Projects. Skunkworks. Oh wait, Skunkworks, that was like the super secret division of Lockheed, right?
60s, the Lockheed California company was developing the world's most advanced aircraft, pushing the technology of the time to its absolute limit. And they had worked
F-104 Starfighter? I would not call this shit super advanced.
With the Navy and Air Force to evaluate new technologies and develop the next generation of military aircraft, much of it highly classified. But in 1969, the company produced an unusual study that seemed out of place even among its cutting-edge research. It detailed an aircraft with monstrous proportions, at nearly 6,000 tons and with an 1,100-foot wingspan.
How many tons? Excuse me?
At nearly 6,000 tons.
Weight of... Okay, let's be correct. Almost five... Excuse me. 5.4 thousand tons? Holy shit.
And with an 1,100-foot wingspan. to serve as both a military transport and an airborne aircraft carrier. Yet today, surprisingly little is known about the project, because Lockheed's study has vanished without a trace.
What?
Even the US Department of Defense has no record of it, as if it were somehow lost or erased from existence.
That means there is a potential that this project is still in development, right? I mean, the Pentagon sure as fuck has the information. It's just super highly classified. So there's a chance, just a chance, that this thing is still work in progress. Holy shit.
But over the years, Lockheed's design has been cited in several other aerospace studies, including a report from 1982 that provides just enough detail to piece together one of the most unusual aircraft ever studied.
Alright.
With a payload capacity measured in the millions of pounds, the Lockheed CL-1201 would represent an entirely new class of aircraft, giving the United States the ability to deploy several hundred fully equipped troops and armament to anywhere in the world within hours, or launch dozens of heavily armed combat aircraft on a moment's notice. And Lockheed's engineers outlined a scenario where these capabilities would be vital for the United States. They envisioned an organized uprising halfway across the globe, instigated by the Soviet Union. Responding to a call for assistance, the US would typically deploy a carrier group and Marines to help stabilize the situation. But in Lockheed's scenario, the Mediterranean would be blocked off and nearby foreign bases would be unavailable. So the 1201 would provide the only means for a rapid strike with a sizable force launched directly from the continental United States. And to explain how this would all work, I've brought on a former BBC News presenter.
What? Okay. Okay, I love that.
Oh, hello there. This video cassette will help you learn about the Lockheed CL-1201. With the new 1201, Lockheed will set a new standard for engineering innovation. But you probably have questions about how it'll all work, so let's jump right in.
Within hours of receiving a call for assistance, an attack carrier would be dispatched from an airbase in Georgia, bound for an aerial staging area over the Mediterranean.
Armed with 24 aircraft and long-range cruise missiles, the carrier's role would be to establish air superiority and function as a central command center.
7 logistics support aircraft would also be dispatched to rendezvous with the carrier over the Mediterranean.
The logistics support aircraft, or LSAs, are giant air...
By the way, I wonder, how big are those wheels? Because I'm willing to bet that those wheels are bigger than a shitload of trucks, to be honest.
The logistics support aircraft, or LSAs, are giant aerial transports, each capable of carrying up to 400 combat-equipped troops, 472 specialized crew, and over 1,000 tons of mechanized equipment, armament, and supplies to last for 30 days.
All 1201
That's a fucking lot.
ones would be equipped with conventional limbs.
Ah, here is the size. Okay, not as big as the trucks, but fucking hell, it's still fucking huge.
Landing gear and operate from paved runways. But for an aircraft of this size, the runway requirements would be absolutely massive. So engineers proposed a novel solution.
For maximum operational flexibility, the carrier and LSAs...
Oh, right. This shit will have VTOL, right? Vertical take-off and land. I think it had VTOL capabilities.
Will be fully equipped for short takeoff and landings.
Seriously?
Dozens of auxiliary turbofan engines will be housed within the wings and forward fuselage, each capable of delivering an impressive 82,000 pounds of vertical thrust.
Four enormous high bypass turbofans would supply an additional 600,000 pounds of thrust and allow the massive 1201s to cruise at about the same speed as a modern jet transport. But once
Really?
over the staging area, the carrier and LSAs would need to loiter for extended periods, remaining continuously airborne for up to 30 days. So Lockheed's engineers turned to another unconventional solution.
At the heart of every CL-1201 is a 30-foot diameter, 18,000 megawatt nuclear reactor, similar
Yeah.
to the kind already used on nuclear submarines, only much larger. The Air Force and Atomic Energy Commission have spent decades testing systems for nuclear-powered aircraft engines. Now these technologies will finally come to a head. During takeoff and landings, the 1201's cruise engines will run on standard jet fuel, and it's only above 16,000 feet that they will be switched to nuclear power. Each engine is fitted with a heat exchanger and can operate on either jet fuel or heat from the reactor.
Damn.
Coolant loops both inside and outside of the containment vessel will transfer heat from the reactor core while safely containing radioactive materials. Radiation exposure will be limited by shielding, and the reactor's containment vessel would be housed inside an impact-absorbing structure. A minimum 16,000-foot altitude for nuclear-powered operations was selected on the basis that it would provide sufficient time for reactor shutdown in the event of an accident. Engineers are confident that the reactor will be fail-safe even in a head-on impact with a granite mountain, assuming a prior 20-second shutdown warning. Now, how's that for safety?
Along with the carrier and LSAs, a number of conventional jet transports would also need to make their way to the staging area to support the assault force.
Over the staging area, the LSAs would be joined by smaller military transport aircraft referred to as medium inter-theater transports, or MITs. The MITs would rendezvous with the LSAs, docking in mid-flight to transfer troops, weaponry and supplies. The MITs would then connect to the LSAs via a tow line and remain on standby.
The 1201's blended wing design would make it an ideal platform for mid-air docking and transfer. And with the assault force...
This is the most sci-fi shit that I've ever seen. God, I wish that thing was real. Or maybe it is real. I hope it is real, because, oh fucking hell, that would be so epic.
Force in place, combat operations would begin immediately.
Working in conjunction with Allied forces on the ground.
The only problem with this thing is the docking aircraft. First, you need to make technology for that, and that's a fucking headache to make docking technology like in sci-fi. But also to make places, you will make. Sorry, the gas is out. Gamersops gas. Anyway, you will need to make it even larger, because modern jet aircraft, to be exact, the fighter aircraft, have much larger wingspan than the F-4 Phantoms that it was designed for. And since no modern country uses an F-4 Phantom, you will need, and everybody uses either F-15s, F-16s, F-35s, or in case of US, F-22s, and their size, their wingspans is way larger than a fucking F-4 Phantom. You will need to make the wingspan way larger if you want to keep the same amount of available aircrafts on the wings. I hope I got it correctly. I hope I explained it well, because I'm a fucking mess as a person. But long story short, for a modern aircraft, you need more space, and you need to make it larger.
Area-based attack aircraft would clear enemy defenses.
Or if you want to keep the same dimensions, you will need to have less aircraft on it, sadly.
to establish a secure airfield. Next, the MITs would begin shuttling troops and equipment between the LSAs and the airfield, protected by carrier-based fighter aircraft.
Aircraft this large would be high-value targets, but Lockheed's engineers weren't expecting adversaries to get anywhere near them.
By operating at 30,000 feet and at least 600 nautical miles from hostile forces, it would be virtually impossible for the enemy to approach unobserved. But should the enemy attempt to engage, they'd have to contend with an impressive range of counter-air aircraft, long and short-range missiles, and of course, laser weapons.
After establishing a
Laser
sizable
weapons?
presence on the ground, American troops working with Allied forces could stabilize the situation within 30 days and reopen the Mediterranean Sea for a larger, conventional ocean-going naval force.
I hope this video has proved informative. As you can see, the CL-1201 is an entirely new class of aircraft and a new means of delivering a rapid response strike to anywhere in the world, keeping America and her allies safe.
It's not clear what prompted such an unusual design study. Was it a strategic threat, a need to assess the limits of aerospace technology, or was Lockheed simply keeping its summer interns busy?
Most likely the third one, plus giving them a lot of cocaine. Because how else will you design that kind of masterpiece if it's not for cocaine or even meth?
What's clear is that there are many unanswered questions. Not just technical and engineering, but basic questions like how the fighters were supposed to be rearmed during combat.
Yeah, that's my question. How do you make that? And also, alright, the vortexes, they would have make a lot of mess for the detaching aircraft.
Or how they would have docked with massive wake turbulence coming off the carrier's wings. Or questions like how the fighters were supposed to be rearmed during.
Yeah, that's the biggest question. How would you make that possible? The token idea, and in theory, you would have make an entire elevator for the cockpit elevator for this shit.
Combat, or how they would have docked with.
And judging by the size of their wing and the fact that it's pretty slim, it's impossible to make an entire elevator system in the wing.
Massive wake turbulence coming off the carrier's wings. The deeper you dig, the more bizarre it seems to get. But without Lockheed's original report, we'll probably never get the answers. And in the context of the Cold War, the 1201 is just one of hundreds of highly speculative designs, many of which weren't really supposed to answer questions, but help find the questions yet to be answered.
Wait, Boeing had a potential for something similar? Holy shit.
But even among these countless conceptual designs, the 1201 stands out as one of the most unusual ever produced.
Sorry.
On an early morning in February 1993, something extraordinary lights up the sky over Europe.
Oh, right.
A mysterious beam of light brighter than a full moon.
Wait, what?
And it moves silently for thousands of kilometers, from the southern coast of France all the way to Belarus. On the ground, it looks like an anomaly, but it's part of an experiment so unusual, it seems straight out of science fiction.
You're talking about something which is several miles across.
It could eventually be a whole network of these cosmic spotlights. They will transform perpetual night into daylight.
Decades ago, Soviet scientists set out to create eternal sunlight. And it's hard to understand why, years later, no one seems to remember. You can learn about the incredible Zanami project in my latest video right now on Nebula. Nebula is where you'll find hours of exclusive Mustard videos that aren't available anywhere else. Videos that explore fascinating stories behind iconic machines and fantastic unrealized concepts.
Okay, that was an advertisement.
Creators like Real Engineering, Neo, Epic History, and Wendover post videos before they're on YouTube, completely ad-free. You can also enjoy a growing catalog of high-quality exclusive originals, like my video on the B-2 Spirit, where I take a deep dive into the origins of one of the most sophisticated aircraft ever produced, or Neo's Underexposure series, where you can learn about topics that aren't really suited for the YouTube algorithm, produced with unrushed storytelling and beautifully crafted visuals. Nebula is owned directly by us, the creators, and that means your support goes directly into improving the platform and funding high-quality projects that otherwise could never have been made. And it's never been easier to access Nebula. You can choose between monthly and yearly subscriptions for as little as $2.50 a month, and even lifetime memberships, which allow you to pay only for an month using the link below.
Okay, that's the end of the video. Wait. So this entire section was advertisement for a Nebula video. Okay. Anyway, that was fucking wonderful video, and I wish that Fink was real. Really. That would be so badass. But also it will be fucking impossible because of how would you dock the aircraft? Because if you think about it, where is it? Where is the footage?
Fighters were supposed.
Yeah, first of all, how will you dock the aircraft? And second, what's with the pilot itself? Because either you have the pilot on the aircraft from the start, or you will make some kind of elevator for the cockpit. Otherwise, it will be impossible. And sorry, but with the pilot inside the cockpit from the start, he will either starve to death from the because he can't do shit, or I don't know, because I bet to you that he will not have food in the cockpit. He will not have any food or drinks on the cockpit. In the cockpit, sorry. Also, he will go blind the minute he dock out, so if he docks out, he will obviously be exposed to a lot of light in a second. He will go blind for a moment. He will not see a thing. And under the turbulence,
combat,
and because of the turbulence, he will not be concentrated a lot. Yeah. If Lockheed figure out how to make that shit real, oh, I will be fucking happy. Anyway, end of this video. And let's start with the next video now. And that is every Minecraft creepypasta explained in 22 minutes. Okay, out of the gate, let's see how many I know. Herobrine, yes. Entity 303, yes. Null, yes. Error 422. I think I do. Giant Alex, no. That thing. I don't think I know this either. Green Steve, yes I do. And also the after Green Steve there was all the colors of the rainbow with Steve. I think there was also blue Steve, red Steve. I think there was even purple Steve, but whatever. Alpha 000. I think there was. It was something similar to 124-3, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, VLLR, yes, I remember that thing. Blood Golem, no, I don't know. Already Occupied, no, I don't know either. Okay, now let's see the video.
Herobrine. The Legend of Herobrine was created not within the game itself. Herobrine.
Oh.
The Legend of Herobrine was created not within the game itself, but in the shared imagination of players. In August 2010, an unknown 4chan user posted a low-resolution image of what appeared to be Minecraft's default protagonist, Steve, but with empty, pupilless eyes that glowed like two moons. The post described
two moons? It was just white eyes.
Discoveries of unusual structures, zigzagging tunnels not possible through procedural generation, and sandstone pyramids in biomes where pyramids could not be found. When the player got close to it, the figure disappeared, with only a whispered line in the chat log. You shouldn't be here. The myth had spread by 2011 as countless players tried to investigate on their own, and even tried to summon Herobrine with altars made of gold, netherrack, and redstone torches.
As a kid, there was a time where I was looking for Herobrine myself. I was a naive child, and I believed a lot of conspiracy shit. Yeah, there was a time.
Copeland staged a Brograph stream where Herobrine materialized at the edge of fog as he stared unblinking before breaking down into particles. Although later debunked as a hoax created using command blocks and texture packs, the video caused worldwide panic. He was said to be seen in rear view while on minecarts, or on distant hilltops during thunderstorms by players. Mojang further fueled the mystery by including removed Herobrine in patch notes more than 30 times.
Yeah, that was a
running
meme.
joke that became horrifying in its paradoxical nature. But the real terror of Herobrine lies in his ambiguity. The original theory was that he was the ghost of Notch's dead brother, something Notch disproved, but which continues in mods such as Herobrine's Vengeance. Others theorize that he was created by the unfinished code of the game itself, a culpa of the fears of millions of players. Whether it's true or not, the fact that he may have been more than just the imagination of players makes every twitch at the edge of your screen seem deliberate. Entity 303. If Herobrine is Minecraft's ghost legend, then Entity 303 is its cyberpunk terror.
Yeah. Wait a second.
Ghost legend, then Entity...
Why the fuck he put out that model that has kinda angry eyes with it? What? It looks so funny.
303 is its cyberpunk terror. The earliest recorded sighting was way back on December 10th of 2013 by a teenager named Frankie in an email to Minecraft forum poster Speed of his private server's destruction. Frankie relayed how recently he has seen sightings of a strange figure behind trees. When checking the game logs, he discovers that a player named Entity 303 logged in uninvited, using the command /stop. The problem was that neither Frankie nor his friends whitelisted any other player. From that point on, things started to spiral into horror as Frankie and his friends decided to ignore it and keep playing. About 20 minutes in, strange messages from the server itself flooded the chat. Make a wish. The mysterious message was sent over and over again until Entity 303.
Yeah, the legend is that the Entity 303, it's kinda a group of former Mojang developers who kinda turned into cyberpunk rebels that kinda want to take a shot against Mojang. Something like that. I don't remember exactly. And my English is fucking bullshit.
303 started spawning hundreds of creepers to devastate his friend's survival city. Lakes of lava emerged from the ground, houses started to burn and explode. The server was hacked, and as Frankie typed /ban Entity 303, the game crashed and his world file was turned into an empty void of drifting error messages as his computer got pirated and displayed the mysterious message, make a wish. Entity 303 was by 2014 the byword for digitized vendettas, striking fear into countless players, fearing to encounter the hacker and lose not only their world, but their entire computer. Legend has it he's a programmer fired from Mojang who infected himself into the game as malware. In a tattered lab coat and red eyes, 303 not only haunts like Herobrine, but corrupts and destroys. Null. In 2014, the player loaded up version 1.2.5 using the newly released Minecraft launcher. At first, things were nothing out of the ordinary, until he started seeing a strange, dark figure appearing every now and then by the corner of his eye. He didn't think much of it as he thought it was just some lighting issues. But one night, when coming back from the dark woods, a sign was waiting for him near his house door. Scrawled on in the default font, they said, null, a coding abbreviation for empty data. The player brushed it off as a glitch or joke from Mojang concerning the rumors circulating about Herobrine during the release of that version. However, one morning when he went out of his Minecraft base, an eerie, almost disturbing sound erupted. A sound of crying, of whimpering, of shouting. a sound that haunted the calm, peaceful bass as it started to distort and corrupt into a muttering glitch noise that sent shivers down the player's spine. Terrified, the player started looking around for explanations until he turned around and nothing. No trace
Seriously?
of the sound, but suddenly, a fall damage sound was heard from afar. It was Herobrine himself. With not even a single second to act, the game crashed. After the traumatic experience, the player decided to play the 1.7.2 version. Playing normally and gathering blocks to build his base, everything was fine and he started to forget about the haunting noise he heard back in the older version.
Funny that he's showing a post 1.9 version, and judging by the book, it would be something like 1.11 or 0.12 version of Minecraft. You could have shown a more authentic version of the game. Seriously.
Walked back into his world one day, only for him to find himself 30,000 blocks deep in the ground in a tunnel of redstone-lit bedrock. As he ventured down the tunnel, a sign welcomed him again. Before he could even read it, another corrupted noise was heard, a depressed voice calling for help. In panic, the player took a screenshot of the unreadable text from the sign and left the game. The player finally translated the message. His heart went cold as he read the following. Help! Null is here! Tell everyone about me! Wanting to know more, the player logged back in, only to find himself again in a different location, this time on a single block of bedrock in the sky. Awaiting him was none other than Herobrine himself, trembling and pixelated. Through the static distorted screen, the player could make out some messages. I need help. I am trapped. You can blame him. He is different. He is evil. Help me escape. Help me find a solution. If you don't help, however, well then it's his game now. The game crashed, leaving nothing behind but utter confusion to the player. To this day, the mystery hasn't been solved. Is Herobrine actually just an innocent man trapped into the game? Is he just looking out for us, warning us about a greater danger we can't perceive? One thing is sure, Null is still lurking out there in the shadows, awaiting his time to endanger Minecraft once more. Error 422. Back in January 2020, one boy named Alexander was sitting in class as he received a mysterious message on Discord. A link to a mysterious Russian video featuring in the description a link to download a file that was incomprehensible to him. As it turned out later, it was a lost version of Minecraft that was not available in the launcher nor anywhere online. Like it had vanished from the face of the earth, leaving nothing behind but forgotten code. Previously a snapshot for an unknown version, it was meant to change Minecraft as it is by rewriting the entire code from scratch. However, something went horribly wrong as the game
I definitely do remember this shit.
Came to life. The sentient code began to mess with the entire world, corrupting the health and hunger bars, changing the time infinitely, and even turning water into boiling lava. On some occurrences, cactus can be seen covering the entire sky, and even scramble the entire screen with red code as an unknown entity tries to kill the player in this corrupted version, where the code itself is sentient and out of control. Green Steve. In version 1.8 of Minecraft back in late 2015, a player started a new survival world. Only him and the world at hand, he started off his adventure. However, one thing was off. Every time he logged in, he could perceive a green entity in the corner of his screen, strangely resembling the default skin but in a green tint.
That's... I'm sorry, but that's a shitty way to put a PNG into a screenshot. Couldn't you just put a player with that skin in? Because that looks fake as fuck.
And silently watching his every moment and stalking him. Nevertheless, the player kept playing until reaching a desert temple. Excited to loot the chests inside, he entered the temple as his heart skipped a beat when he found an already existing hole in the floor that led to the treasure room. Confused, curiosity gets the best of him as he jumped down the hole to find out more. As he landed one block away from the stone plate, He turned his head right only to be face to face with that green figure again. In a split second, his game started to bug and go static, only to reveal that he was trapped in a room full of creepers, and with no time to escape, was killed. To this day, it is unclear who or what this entity is. Some say this was the invention of a now-fired Mojang developer. Others say it's Herobrine's very own brother. But the mystery remains unsolved as Green Steve is still out there, following his next victim with only one goal: to kill that thing.
What the fuck is that
on
thing?
The McFarlane website, a strange report was written revolving around a cursed seed, the 2323 seed that was said to be the gateway to a dimension never seen before in Minecraft, the Freak World. Allegedly, the Freak World could leak into other regular worlds and seeds, bringing along with it a mysterious entity seen by countless of players, an intelligence or AI that was outside of Mojang's control. An entity so strange and eerie it was simply labeled The Thing due to its strange appearance, almost resembling Steve but with 6 arms and 2 pairs of distorted eyes, towering over players. Despite its gruesome appearance, it was considered harmless as long as it was not angered, not harming anything or anyone as it was.
So basically a humanoid Enderman, eh? Fucking stupid.
Seen simply watching in the distance or even rebuilding structures.
Sorry, but the lack of music freaks me out. I always hear something around me. Put on some music, man.
But when in rage, that thing unleashed a terribly distorted sound, terrifying players down to the bone and following them until killed.
Will you play the sound, please? I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Many rumors had circulated about that thing, but no one could find the truth behind it, nor enter the Freak World as the path is still unknown. Giant
and thank
Alex.
God.
Giant Alex defies scale as much as sanity as the...
What the fuck is that? I'm sorry, but this is way too cringe. Why the fuck is this here?
This 12-block tall, blood-streaked version of Minecraft's Alex skin first began appearing in 2020 in Seed.
Honestly, I would rather see Alex Bryan or Bobby1545 in this video. Giant Alex is way too cringe to be here.
777-874-938-129-2937.
Are you seriously just saying the number of the seed?
89578, which translates to Death Steve in decimal code.
Nice.
So those running Optifine 1.12.2 with a render distance of 2 to 6 chunks describe her as appearing at the border of fog. Stationary, but for occasional head tilts approximating player actions with bloody eyes, steadily watching and staring. A 2021 investigation by a YouTube creator Wild Dog and many others uncovered some disturbing phenomena. While at first everything seemed normal, the feeling of being watched was heavy, almost as if the silence of the game was intentional. But soon enough, footprints of Giant Alex were discovered all over the world as Giant Alex towered over, watching with no movement whatsoever, fading into the thick fog, leaving behind nothing but footprints and utter confusion.
And making me feeling cringe. What the fuck is that? That's just a reskin of the giant zombie. Could you go a little bit more original in this one?
Minecraft Alpha 0.0.0. Minecraft Alpha 0.0.0 is another lost version of Minecraft reportedly being a living virus. Unavailable even on the official launcher, the only way to procure it is still unknown and unsafe. Upon opening the game, players are greeted with a bedrock wall as the background of a menu featuring a glitched Minecraft logo. However, that's only the beginning of this twisted version. When creating a world and spawning in, an eerie music starts playing, and nothing else seems to happen, but if you play for a while, the world only gets creepier. Trees burning on their own, the sky getting darker and darker,
Mhm.
and inverted crosses all over the ground between pillars of bedrock.
No wonder
All
a
these
classic.
strange phenomena created a dark energy that weighed on the players. However, that is only the beginning, as it only spirals into darkness more and more as you play. The bedrock pillars become catalysts to terrifying loud screamers that freeze the game and even crash it in some instances. And if your game hasn't crashed yet, then the game flickers. Light blinks over and over until summoning a strange entity with no shape or form. A living
Yeah,
glitch
I've seen it
chasing
before.
you through the horrors of the Minecraft Alpha 0.0.0 until catching you and crashing your entire game. VLLR.
Hello.
On June 15, 2016, two friends decided to play survival mode together on a private server they created on version 1.10 of Minecraft. They gathered wood, stone, then iron, the classic Minecraft start. One night, as they were going back to their freshly built base in a hurry, time suddenly changed, switching the dark night sky to daylight. The friends thought one of them was
Yeah, that's a video by Along Game Josh, right? Yeah, that's a clear fake.
messing around with commands, but none of them did it. As the administrator of the server,
I mean, all the creepypastas are fake by default, but that's the most obvious fake. A badly made creepypasta. That kind of fake.
one of them decided to check the logs and prove it wasn't him who did that. But what he found was much different from what he expected. A message spelling VLLR has changed the time to 10,000. Confused on how this is possible, as
That's
it
like
was only the
midnight.
two friends in the server. One of them decided to confront the unknown player or entity by asking on the chat, "Who is VLLR?" Not expecting any answer, they kept playing until, out of nowhere, another message pops up. VLR OBXIIV TXKQQL HKLT question mark?
What?
A text in an unknown language that sent a chill down their spine. Scared and confused, they translated the message as the translator had detected that the message was written in Bulgarian. It said, "Do you have a drink?" Even more confused, they
The most Bulgarian thing you could ask.
decided to reply, "Why would I have a drink?" Instantly, the other end replied, VLLR AFAQ question mark?
What?
They tried to translate it again, but no use this time. It was not Bulgarian, but another foreign language. Fed up, the other friend typed, "What language are you speaking?" To which the mysterious character finally replied in English this time, VLLR, 3 letters back. Understanding that what he was saying from the beginning was a coded language, they tried to
Of
decipher
course.
it in a hurry, thinking they had finally solved the mystery until one last message pops up in the chat. VLLR teleported DogDude2005 to VLLR.
What?
One of the friends was gone, teleported by VLLR. Terrified from what was happening, the other friend searched for a way to bring Dogdude back, but he was already banned from the server. And in a moment of absolute horror, VLLR teleported to the player left in the server. Turning
fuck.
behind, he saw a villager with empty black eyes and white pupils, colors flickering from his body, staring at him in dead silence as his screen went black. Blue, then the entire game crashed, leaving nothing behind as the very save file was erased as well. Some theorize that VLLR is a virus that corrupted their server. Some say it was a hacker, and others say it was a failed experiment from Mojang
fuck.
itself that only existed on that version. To this day, it is still unsure what VLLR is. Blood Golem.
The
On the
fuck
23rd
is
of
that?
November 2015, two friends were playing on their Minecraft server. They spawned next to a mountain range and decided to kick off their survival. They mined all the iron needed and built their house. With all the amount of iron they had collected, they decided to create an iron golem to watch over their freshly built home. The sun had already set as the golem came to life, stared at the two players, and walked around the base, nothing out of the ordinary. The two friends logged off the server to go to sleep and play again the next day. Excited to play again and have fun, they rejoined the server, but to their horror, their home had changed by night. The roof and second floor of their house was on fire. The ground floor was completely destroyed. Confused, they ran outside to look around for explanations. Their golem was gone by then. How could this happen? Worlds remain inactive when no player is on. The only explanation was that someone was able to log in their server at night and griefed everything, killing their golem in the process.
That's
Angry,
shitty.
they still chose to rebuild and keep playing, deciding they wouldn't let anyone ruin their fun. After a few moments of looking around, the first friend climbed up a mountaintop, towering around the area.
Oh,
as he
I
was
saw
watching
it.
over the scenery, something crossed his field of vision. A red thing that instantly disappeared when the player turned around to check clearly. Desperately trying to spot it again,
Hello.
there it was. Behind the thick leaves of the birch trees was an iron golem painted in red, labeled Entity IG-666.
Wait, what did it say?
Shocked,
You should not have left me to rot. Now you will die. Fucking idiot.
the player kept staring.
That's like... what's the word for that? What's the... Give me a second. Fuck, I forgot the word I was going for. The most typical shit that you will write.
As the iron golem was watching behind the trees.
Is he
A message
flying?
was written in the chat. Entity IG-666. You should not have left me to rot. Now you will die. In panic, the player ran away back to the house where he told his friend about what happened until they were interrupted by the sound of footsteps. They looked outside the window only to be face to face with a blood golem, staring at them dead in the eyes.
Hello there.
In a flash, the blood golem came bursting through the door and
Seriously, in a flash, that piece of shit was so slow. Even a snail would be faster than him. What the fuck, man? Those two idiots could have run away just with no issue.
upon contact with the two friends, their game crashed, fading to black, leaving behind a message. Downloading bloodgolem.exe on their computers.
Fucking stupid.
The Minecraft launcher had become entirely corrupted,
Nice.
transforming the logo and the name to match the blood golem appearance, and even distorting the menu and music, turning the background into the picture of a crying woman. As
Seriously?
curious and foolish as they were, they tried to rejoin the server, only to find themselves on a netherrack island in the middle of a dark sea. As they wandered
What
around,
the fuck?
the blood golem emerged again and chased them. The game, however, crashed before getting caught. Back on their desktop, the wallpaper was changed to display the picture of that very same woman, this time lying down with her eyes bleeding out.
What the
As the two
fuck?
friends stared at the disturbing picture, their computers released a loud sound, almost resembling the cry of a woman, before their screens went black and their computers turned cold, unable to turn on again. Already occupied.
What the fuck?
It all started back in 2015 as 2 friends were playing on their own server,
Okay.
trying out a weird seed rumored to
The Blood Golem is the most pathetic creepypasta I've seen. It's too stupid, to be honest.
hide a mystery. The seed was a long chain of zeros and ones, too long to even fit in the seed input box when creating a world, but somehow it fitted. Despite that, they started playing and found a nice hill to install their base at. One of the friends went mining and found copper, an ore that was not released back then.
Oh,
The two were
what?
confused on what was copper doing there in an update that didn't feature any. But before finishing their convo, the player ran away from
Weird.
the cave, claiming he had seen a dark entity lurking inside.
Oh, hello.
His friend tried to calm him down as he told him that there can't be someone or something already occupying this world. It isn't possible, is it? A heavy atmosphere switched the entire dynamic of a once normal server between friends as they both became paranoid that something was, in fact, already occupying this world.
Nice.
A moment had passed since then, and they kept playing until finding a village they decided to loot. After a successful gathering, they decided to leave as one of them looked behind, only to find that the entire village was completely altered. All houses were entirely different, resembling what a player would build. Freaked out, the two friends ran away as the entire ground was glitching and regenerating over and over again.
I wish you would show the footage from from the video if there is one. Because just telling out the legend without showing the video as proof. Sorry, but I don't believe you. Show me and tell me. Don't just tell me what happened, because I would not understand that. I have to imagine all of that in my head to understand it. It would have been better for me if you showed me something.
Indefinitely. They reached their base and got into the deepest part of their mind in hopes of escaping. However, a single message shattered that hope. User 1100101010 joined the game, and in a moment of terrifying silence, the newly joined player asked, "What are you doing in my world?" A haunting sentence that traumatized the two before getting slain by the mysterious entity and getting banned afterwards. Years later, the truth was finally revealed. It was said that the entity occupying that specific seed was the ghost of Jason, a boy who died while playing Minecraft.
Seriously?
His pain was so intense and terrible that his spirit was trapped, translating his last words into the long chain of zeros and ones that serves as the seed. The code translated into, "God help me, please help me,
For some reason, I think that the voice is AI generated. Seriously. Because why the fuck would you voice that shit out?
Say that Jason's only death wish was to keep playing the game he loved, and that he wouldn't let anyone else destroy and alter his precious world that he died trying to perfect.
That's the most stupid shit that I have ever seen.
The Legend of Hero.
Seriously. Like, let's see in the comments. The real Minecraft horror story was made when Mojang was too lazy to fix the villager texture on programmer art for 5 years now. Entity 303 being a hacker makes it pretty fitting actually. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we actually believed this stuff, those were the days. Yeah, I remember this time. Fucking good times. Once again, I wish I was a child again. Everything would have been so much easier. Herobrine as the boss, yeah, agreed. German word for zero. Okay. Stupid fucking video, but I like that. Please add some more videos that shows the actual shit. Don't just retell the story, man. Okay, I will come back in a minute. I need to go to the porcelain throne again. In the meantime, hear more music. Okay, I am back. Let's shut down the music. And let's get to the next video. Sorry, my decasses are all out, I hope. And now to the next video. Fucking hell, my casses. The creepy underworld of cancelled NFS games, Need for Speed games. And the thumbnail is terrorism. What the fuck? Okay, that will be fucking interesting. I'm already hooked on it.
There's something strangely wrong with the history of Need for Speed.
Really?
And no, it's not just EA releasing the same game since 2015.
Yep.
I'm talking about hidden files.
Opera
missing
added
prototypes,
again?
canceled projects involving bizarre stuff like hackers or even terrorism. There's a whole
What?
underworld in the franchise that almost nobody knows about. If you spend too much time on obscure forums, lost YouTube channels, or subreddits that feel like urban legends with Wi-Fi, you've probably heard of some of them. Games that
No,
once
I
existed,
didn't.
that actually ran, that were ready to be released, but got deleted, censored, or rewritten. And today we're digging up every one of them. Some kind of automotive necromancy. I don't think that term even exists, but anyway.
God damn.
Need for Speed 64.
What?
It was a golden decade. The 90s, peak of the console wars when Nintendo still ruled many childhoods with the power of cartridges and 64 bits of pure nostalgia.
Mhm.
Electronic Arts, meanwhile, was beginning to establish the Need for Speed series as a benchmark for stylish street racing and realistic
Mhm.
speed. Everything was lining up for an epic crossover.
Need for Speed, realistic speed. What a great joke.
Right? Well, not quite. There's
On
a
the other hand, if you mean like feeling of speed, yeah, Need for Speed in the 90s and in the 2000s especially, God, the feeling of speed was just exquisite. Exquisite, mate. Exquisite.
parallel universe where 7-year-old you would pop a Need for Speed 64 cartridge into your console and go racing Ferraris, Lambos, and Vipers through the pixelated streets of your console.
I lost the thought process. Sorry.
With the power of cartridges and 64 bits of pure nostalgia. Electronic Arts, meanwhile, was beginning to establish the Need for Speed series as a benchmark for stylish street racing and realistic speed.
Yep.
Everything was lining up for an epic crossover, right? Well, not quite. There's a parallel universe where 7-year-old you would pop a Need for Speed 64 cartridge into your console and go racing Ferraris, Lambos, and Vipers through
Seriously?
the pixelated streets of San Francisco. But here, in the sad reality we live in, that game was canceled before it ever saw the light of day. And as if that wasn't enough, it ended up morphing into something completely different, Beetle Adventure Racing. Yep, you heard that right. A Need for
What?
Speed game turned into a colorful Beetle-themed adventure. The plan was simple.
Holy shit, the video quality is just... It's just wrong.
Adapt the success of Need for Speed 2 or 3 Hot Pursuit to the Nintendo 64. Adjusted graphics, performance tuned to the console, an epic soundtrack. EA even hired the same team that worked on Need for Speed 2 to kick things off. They
Oh.
were already testing tracks, modeling cars, and playing around with the engine. But the Nintendo 64 wasn't exactly the best platform for this kind of game.
Yeah.
While the PlayStation cruised ahead with CD-based games and high-quality audio, Nintendo was still stuck with cartridges. Storage space? Tiny. Sound effects and music? Heavily compressed? High-definition licensed cars? Forget it. Little by little,
Yeah.
the team realized that simply porting Need for Speed wasn't going to work. Performance was poor. Controls didn't feel right, and the series' trademark realism, the feeling of being in a real car, got lost.
Once again, Need for Speed and realism. Yeah, in the modern years, it sounds like a fucking joke.
Along the way. Then came the anime plot twist.
What?
Someone on the team had an idea. What if we ditched realism and made something more arcade style, more fun, alternate routes, secret ramps, and, I don't know, Beatles? Suddenly the whole project shifted. The game that started out as Need for Speed 64 began to turn into something entirely new. Lighter, more chaotic, more kid-friendly. Something that made more sense for the console's audience and the cartridge's technical limitations. The name? Beetle Adventure Racing, released in 1999. A Nintendo 64 exclusive with quirky physics, tracks filled with dozens of hidden paths, a more colorful art style, and of course, only licensed Volkswagen New Beetle. From a serious racing game with supercars and police chases, it evolved into a wacky adventure starring cartoonish Beetle. The transformation of NFS 64 into Beetle Adventure Racing shows just how different the industry was back in the 90s. A
Yeah.
game could completely change its identity mid-production if the devs realized the hardware couldn't handle it. And no one batted an eye. No outrage, no leaked trailers, no furious community. It was just, we changed everything. Here's a game with beetles jumping over mountains. Have fun. But looking...
Yeah, the same could have happened if Most Wanted 2012, if they changed the name of the game too. If you don't know, Most Wanted 2012, the game that was hated when it's launched. The only reason it was hated was because of the name of the game. If they changed the name, if it was something like Need for Speed Fairhaven or Need for Speed World 2, for example, nobody would have batted an eye. But because it was Most Wanted, everybody just turned on the game and on Electronic Arts as a whole.
Looking back now, it's kind of sad, because Need for Speed 64 could have been the start of an entire generation of NFS games on Nintendo consoles.
Nah.
It could have introduced the brand to a new audience. It could have kicked
No, it
off a
couldn't.
line of Big N exclusives with their own unique identity. But no, it was shelved, reworked, and reborn as a game that many people don't even know had ties to Need for Speed. If you search for Need for Speed 64 today, all you'll find are some internal EA files, vague comments from former developers, and Beetle Adventure Racing. But the truth is, that game is the last remnant of what could have been a classic old-school NFS on the N64. And the most ironic part? Beetle Adventure Racing is good. Like, really good. A cult classic loved by those who lived through that era. It just never carried the Need for Speed name, even though deep down it was a lost child of the franchise. Now imagine this. You're in a high-speed chase doing 200 kilometers per hour down a city highway. A police SUV
Carbon Music already approved that.
tries to ram you off the road, but you send it crashing into a fuel tanker. The camera slows down, shards fly through the air, the truck explodes, the screen shakes, and the word takedown flashes in the corner.
It sounds like a Burnout Paradise scenario.
Burnout 4, right? Well, it wasn't. It was Need for Speed. Takedown. This was the secret prototype Criterion was working on before they got pulled into the lukewarm world of Need for Speed Rival. A project that, had it made it off the drawing board, could have been the most insane and cathartic game in the franchise's history. For those who don't remember, Criterion was the studio behind Burnout 3,
Yes.
Burnout Revenge, and Paradise. Those games where wrecking other cars mattered more than actually driving well. After the massive success of Hot Pursuit 2010,
Yes.
EA gave Criterion more power within the NFS franchise, and that's where the experiment began. Even before Most Wanted 2012, Criterion was prototyping a new concept, a Need for Speed entirely focused on vehicular combat and arcade-style destruction, with pure Burnout DNA running through its veins. The pitch was simple and brilliant. The game wouldn't be about running from the cops. It would be about owning the streets, by force. You'd play as an elite street racer embedded in an international network of illegal racing, but instead of just competing, your job was to eliminate all rivals, literally. Missions like take down 5 cars before the tunnel, cause millions in damage on the highway, survive a convoy of armored SUVs for 3 minutes. The takedown system would be pulled straight from Burnout, but with a more realistic look, powered by a modern engine. Explosions
Powered by
Burnout,
what?
but with a more realistic look, powered by a modern engine.
Okay. But damn, that concept, half of it, it is already existent in Need for Speed Rivals, so it basically was some super early prototype for Need for Speed Rivals. Damn, that would have been a super cool game, to be honest.
Explosions, slow motion, debris flying. Just like you remember from Revenge and Paradise, but now inside the Need for Speed universe. You weren't going to be the hero running from the cops. You were the unstoppable antagonist. The police would come at you with fury, and you'd destroy them, one by one. According to former Criterion staff, Takedown had a playable internal build, aid using assets from Hot Pursuit and Burnout Paradise. The goal was to test the collision system and destruction physics. And the early feedback? This here is gold. The devs were excited. EA, not so much. 2 major factors killed the project before it could take off. The transition to Ghost Game. Soon after, EA created a studio called Ghost Game, now EA Gothenburg, tasked with unifying the vision for Need for Speed. Criterion was gutted, many devs were moved to Ghost, and the new directive was...
Yeah, that was because of the Most Wanted 2012 disaster that basically killed Criterion, and most of the Criterion refugees, you can say, moved to Ghost Games.
Clear. Focus on an open-world game with cinematic police chases. And the second factor? Fear of excess. EA was worried a game like Takedown would alienate the realism-loving crowd. We can't make a game where you get points for destroying cop cars like it's GTA with nitrous. They wanted something more serious, more ambitious. The result?
Something more serious, like, I don't know, Payback, Need for Speed Heat, Need for Speed, what's the name of that piece of shit? Unbound? Really? And a few years before that, you released fucking Undercover. What in the fucking realism you are talking about?
Takedown was
And
shelved
seriousness.
forever. Takedown could have been the perfect bridge between two of the most beloved racing franchises out there. The anarchic soul of Burnout, the branding and world of Need for Speed. It was the game that would have injected pure adrenaline into a franchise already starting to feel repetitive. And maybe, just maybe, we'd have a whole new subgenre on our hand. The Cinematic Destruction Racer. But like every NFS that never saw the light of day, Takedown became just another dream, battered in a head-on crash with corporate reality. What if Tony Stark played Need for Speed?
Why the fuck do I have the feeling that this video was made by AI? I have a bad feeling about it.
That was basically the
like this scenario almost out of AI generated some ChatGPT type of shit. I do not like it.
Vibe behind one of the most eccentric projects ever conceived by Criterion on Crash with corporate reality.
Once again.
What if Tony Stark played Need for Speed? That was basically the vibe behind one of the most eccentric projects ever conceived by Criterion.
Seriously?
Need for Speed Millionaire.
What?
And if you're thinking that name sounds like fan fiction, yeah, it kinda does, but it wasn't. It was real, extravagant. And of course, it got cancelled before you could even use your car as a jet ski. The game would have been about you, a bored billionaire who decides to use their ridiculous fortune to travel the world, compete in illegal street races, bet cars, crush rivals, and flaunt style and excess in every detail. The idea was to turn Need for Speed into a mix of Top Gear,
I'm almost convinced it's a fake. NFS Millionaire sounds like Test Drive Unlimited meets Midnight Club, lol, yeah. Alright.
James Bond, Fast and Furious, and lifestyles of the rich and famous, with a global map, missions spread across luxurious cities, exotic hypercars, planes, yachts, private jets, and even real estate to buy and customize. Yep, it was basically GTA for the automotive elite. You'd choose between several rich, eccentric characters, each with their own perks and disadvantages based on race type, available vehicles, or reputation. Kind of like picking a fighter in a fighting game, but with Bugattis. The concept involved a sort of world tour where you'd fly from city to city, like New York, Dubai, Paris, Tokyo, competing in ultra-exclusive street racing events. We're talking races in closed airports, police chases through the French Riviera, snowy mountain escapes in the Alps, and themed events on deserts and private islands.
Yeah, Test Drive Unlimited meets Midnight Club. Pretty accurate.
And of course, all of it in outrageously expensive cars that you could modify, paint in gold, give airplane sound systems, or whatever wild thing money could buy. And the rivals? Other billionaires. Arrogant, smug, full of lines like, "That's cute. I bought that Lambo for my dog last week."
And fucking stupid, apparently.
Was Need for Speed where the driver's personality was just as over the top as the exhaust. The studio behind it? Criterion Games, the same legends who gave us Burnout and took over NFS Hot Pursuit in 2010. They were brainstorming new directions before diving into what would eventually become Need for Speed rival. Millionaire was one of those experimental concepts. They kicked off with concept art, basic gameplay prototypes, and some UI mock-ups.
Can you please show up some of these concepts, if they are available? I want to look at it.
EA even approved it for pre-production, and the team was excited about doing something fresh. A racing game with rich characters, a light narrative, and a satirical, over-the-top vibe. But then, EA changed direction. They decided the franchise needed a safer reboot, one focused on traditional gameplay. The open world of Rivals felt easier to sell. The eccentric billionaire idea? Shelved. Cancelled within 6 months of development. The project later surfaced in portfolios of former Criterion devs, when a few pitch documents leaked online between 2015 and 2017. Just scraps. No gameplay footage ever leaked, no teaser, no real trace. But the name survived. Need for Speed Millionaire became one of those franchise myths, like a rich uncle who never shows up for Christmas, but everyone swears he's real. The most beloved game in the franchise was getting a direct sequel. If you grew up playing Need for Speed Most Wanted, then you've probably imagined this already. Racing through Rockport, the Blacklist, Razor, those insane police chases, the BMW M3 GTR, becoming the symbol of an entire generation. Now imagine all of that, cranked to the max. More story, more rivalries, more cities, and more danger. That was the plan. Most Wanted 2 was real. For a brief moment, it
Yes.
actually existed. The
Yeah,
game
it
was
did.
envisioned as a direct sequel to the 2005 classic. No reboot, no reimagining the concept. It was supposed to be Most Wanted 2 in every sense. Insider sources say the plan included a return to Rockport, now expanded with
Oh.
new connected areas, a brand new blacklist with entirely new characters, while Razor operated in the shadows, a deeper reputation system where your actions shaped how the city treated you, and of course police that were more relentless than ever, adaptive AI, helicopters with non-lethal weapons, traps, barricades, and real-time manhunts. The
Damn.
tone was darker, grittier, more urban and dramatic, like Fast and Furious meets Heat and the Underground, 3 that never came. Development sketches began between 2009 and 2010, during a period when EA was testing new directions for the franchise, around the same time when Takedown and Millionaire were being born and buried. The problem? Too many hands on the wheel. EA had Criterion pushing for a return to pure arcade racing with Hot Pursuit, slightly mad studios experimenting with the realism of Shift, and internal
Yeah.
teams debating the future of the Need for Speed brand. The idea of a direct sequel to Most Wanted was strong, but the fear of messing with the classic was even stronger. No one wanted to be the one to ruin one of the franchise's biggest successes, so in 2012, EA made a controversial call. They greenlit a new Most Wanted for Criterion, but not a sequel, a reboot. Most Wanted 2012 launched with an open world, a Burnout-style feel, and barely any connection to the original. Was it fun? Yes. As iconic as the 2005 version? Not even
No.
close. And to many
Not at
fans,
all.
a letdown. The name Most Wanted 2 appeared in leaked EA documents, in ex-developers' portfolios, some still visible on LinkedIn between 2016 and 2019, and even in an alleged piece of concept art showing the BMW M3 with a darker paint job and the title Most Wanted Retribution. Nothing was ever officially confirmed, but the traces are there, and some say the
Now it was officially confirmed. There was even leaked videos of pre-alpha, pre-beta tests of the game. It was there, I remember it.
concept of rivalry, escape, and cinematic storytelling in an urban environment was partially recycled in the run and later in Payback. Need for Speed is a competitive MMO exclusive to Asia? Sounds
What?
weird.
Ah, that's Need for Speed Edge. Yeah. I remember this shit.
It was. But that was the bold concept behind Need for Speed Edge, a project by EA Korea in
That's not a project. I think that game was it was launched in Asia. I think it was in China, which is no wonder a Chinese exclusive game.
collaboration with Nexon, the powerhouse behind MMOs like MapleStory and Dungeon Fighter Online. The plan was to create a fully online, free-to-play Need for Speed game with RPG-style car progression, ranked PvP racing, aggressive microtransactions, of course, and massive multiplayer with lobbies and tournaments. It was a Need for Speed made specifically for the Asian market, with the competitive mindset of an MMO and an aesthetic that felt like Underground meets League of Legends. So how did that go?
Okay, this is confirmed. This video was made by fucking ChatGPT. A fucking stupid video.
Well, it launched in beta and died shortly after. Need
Seriously?
for Speed Edge started development around 2000.
Let me look it up quickly. Need for Speed Edge. Okay. What happened to Need for Speed Edge? Game was developed in Korea and used the for Speed 3 engine. Okay, first this released on December 14, 2017. In 2019, Nexon announced that the game would be shutting down on May 30 of the same year. So the game was out, it was on the line for like 2 years, and then it was shut down. Fair. To be honest, perfectly valid, because the idea of that game was fucking bullshit. Okay, give me a second, I'm just adjusting some shit here. Back to the video.
14, as EA's attempt to expand the franchise's reach into Asian markets, particularly South Korea and China, two countries obsessed with online competitions and free-to-play MMOs. On paper, the concept had potential. Cars were unlocked through loot boxes, crafting, and progression systems. You had your own racer profile with levels, rankings, stats, and rep, and also tracks were inspired
No wonder it was shut down.
by classic NFS maps, but reworked for multiplayer and live events. And of course, you could pay for advantages, exclusive skins, XP boosts, temporary upgrades, EA being EA. Visually,
yeah.
Edge looked decent. It ran on the Frostbite engine with lighter textures, optimized for lower-end PCs, which was essential for the target audience. The gameplay was a strange hybrid, not quite as arcade as Hot Pursuit, not as realistic as Shift. It sat somewhere in the middle with simplified physics to support online matches with 8 to 16 players. The game featured PvE events with bots, ranked PvP modes, clans, public lobbies, weekly leaderboards, daily challenges, seasonal events, all the typical MMO stuff, but with cars, neon lights, and infinite nitrous. Edge eventually launched closed beta in 2015 and open beta in 2017, exclusively in Asian region, but the audience just didn't connect. Need for Speed fans wanted story-driven games. MMO fans wanted something deeper. Edge got stuck in the middle. Monetization was abusive. Pretty much everything was pay to win. Top-tier cars came in loot boxes with
Typical EA management. No surprises.
awful drop rates. Support was weak. Updates were slow, bugs lingered, and matchmaking was a mess. The player base tanked. Less than 2 years after its open launch, the game was shut down in 2019, quietly, without any farewell or recognition. And just like that, the Need for Speed MMO was gone. Today, Edge is almost like a lost myth. Few videos exist, few creators ever covered it. EA never officially acknowledged the failure, but those who saw it, remember. And those who played it probably gave up after their third useless loot box.
I think he's lying. I think quite a lot of YouTubers were talking about Need for Speed Edge. I remember at least few in the Russian sphere. But the game shut it down very quickly. And to be honest, I thought it was alive till today. Whatever.
It was EA and Nexon's attempt to turn Need for Speed into an online phenomenon like League or PUBG, but the car crashed before it even left the garage. The whole world is racing against you and you've only got a car and one reason to keep going. That was the vibe of The Run, a game that wasn't perfect, but bold and different. A Need for Speed with a story, and for the first time, it literally took you out of the car. The story behind The Run 2 starts right where the first one left off. And to understand why the sequel had so much potential, you need to remember what The Run was trying to do. In 2011, EA wanted to...
I remember what was The Run about. I remember that, yeah, they kinda left the door unlocked, the door open, sorry, for a potential for a sequel. But no, there will never be. No, there will never be a sequel of The Run.
Invent the franchise. They'd already tried realism with Shift. They'd brought back cop chases with Hot Pursuit, but they were missing something more dramatic.
What do you mean they brought back cops in Hot Pursuit? They never left. I mean, Undercover was 2 years ago. What the fuck are you talking about?
With blockbuster flair. So they gave us The Run, featuring Jack Rourke, a protagonist in debt to the mob, racing from San Francisco to New York for a $25 million prize. It was basically Cannonball Run meets Mission Impossible, all riding on a turbocharged V8. The game had massive marketing, epic trailers, over-the-top action scenes with QTEs, avalanches in the Rockies, helicopters blowing up overpasses, rooftop police chases, and still, it flopped. Critically and commercially, it underperformed. But, and here's the thing, it sold just enough for a sequel to enter pre-production. After the first game launched, a small team at Black Box began working on early concepts for The Run 2. There's not much official material, but former devs have confirmed the project did exist, at least in early development stages. According to reports, the plan was to double down.
What was? That's a fucking Aston Martin. I think it is a DB12, right? Let me look it up. Aston Martin. I think that's a DB12, right? No, it's not. It's maybe Vantage? Yeah, looks like a Vantage. Look at it. Yeah, that's a Vantage. Yep.
At least in early development stage.
I'm stupid. The name is literally here.
According to
Whatever.
reports, the plan was to double down on what worked in the first game and fix what didn't. More freedom in route choices with branching paths and dynamic events, fewer forced QTEs, more hands-on interactive sequences, a new protagonist, or possibly Jack's return depending on the pitch. And this time, the race would start in New York and end in Mexico. Yes, the Run 2 was meant to be a kind of reversed sequel, crossing the US from east to south, featuring extreme weather, cartel territory, desert escapes, and border corruption. And unlike the first game, this sequel was pitched as darker, grittier, and more grounded. According to devs who worked on the concept phase, the checkpoint system with rival characters would return, but more organically, and cars would be more diverse with visual customization available from the beginning. Not long after the Run 2 entered conceptual development, EA made a big move. They shut down Black Box. Officially, it was a studio restructuring. In practice, it was the end of an era. Black Box was the heart behind some of NFS's most legendary titles: Underground, Most Wanted, Carbon, Pro Street, and the Run itself. And with its closure, any chance of the Run 2 died too. According to former staff, the pitch was shopped around to other EA studios like Criterion and Ghost Games. But EA's response was clear: we're not interested in linear narratives right now. We want more open experiences with a focus on multiplayer. In other words, no more action movie racing. Time to play it safe again. Why do so many fans...
Are you No. The allegations, you can't beat these allegations. The video was made by ChatGPT.
Fans still dream about the Run 2, because the Run, for all its flaws, had soul. It was imperfect, but it was different. While most racing games play it safe, the Run took a risk, and the Run 2 promised to fix what went wrong, while doubling down on what made the original exciting. People still dream of that game, and let's be honest, a road trip full of explosions, corruption, and adrenaline, from Times Square to Ciudad Juarez, all backed by a V8 and Skrillex on the speakers, that would have been a chaotic masterpiece, but sadly, it never made it past the starting line. What if Need for Speed met Mr. Robot? No, this isn't a joke. It actually happened. Back in the heart of...
God damn it, stop with the what if this, what if that. Yeah, it's way too obvious.
The PS3 and Xbox 360 era, the golden age of creative chaos in gaming, EA started playing with an idea that honestly sounds like it came from a Red Bull-fueled brainstorming session with zero oversight. What if we made a Need for Speed, where the player goes up against hackers, is hunted by secret agencies, and has to escape terrorist attacks, all while driving at 200 kilometers per hour? This is one of the most obscure and insane prototypes ever whispered about inside EA. Almost no one knows about it, and even fewer believed it was real. But internal documents, leaked dev conversations, and fan-recovered portfolios confirm it. Terror 5 was real, at least on paper.
What?
The project's full name was Need for Speed. Terror 5. Yeah, Terror 5. It already sounds like a Jason Bourne spin-off with cars, but trust me, it gets way deeper and weirder. This game was born out of an identity crisis.
I'm tired to say that the video is stupid, to be honest.
The Need for Speed franchise was struggling to escape the long shadow of Underground and Most Wanted, two legendary titles. But EA had realized that just repeating the old formula wasn't going to cut it anymore. The audience wanted more. The market wanted narrative, cinematic action, something bold. So around 2008 to 2009, EA started experimenting with new directions. A creative reboot for the series, and three paths were born. Need for Speed Shift, with a technical, realistic sim racing style, Need for Speed Nitro, colorful and fast-paced arcade racing, and the
exclusive for mobile phones, by the way, because that shit never went to PC.
Strangest, boldest, most secretive of them all, Terror 5, the wildest concept EA ever greenlit. The core idea? Turn Need for Speed into a game about espionage and conspiracy, a world where illegal street racing collided with digital infiltration, criminal syndicates, cinematic escapes, coordinated explosions, all wrapped in a plot about hacking, mass surveillance, and urban terrorism. Sounds absurd?
What?
Oh, it gets better. The plan was to build a branching narrative system like Mass Effect, with choices that affected your route, reputation, and led to multiple endings. The protagonist, Jack, not the Run version yet, was an ex-street racer caught in a web of cybercrime. And the car? It was more than transportation. It was your weapon, your home, your hideout, your escape tool, and your digital sabotage machine. In other words, it was Need for Speed, with one foot in Watch Dogs and the other in 24. Why was it canceled? Because no one at EA really knew what they were doing with it. Seriously,
Yeah.
the developers got tangled
No wonder, because the game sounds super random.
up in the concept from the very first prototypes. The gameplay was all over the place. Sometimes it was arcade racing, sometimes stealth, sometimes sandbox-style exploration, all jumbled together. The team just couldn't find a fun core loop. And then came the worst enemy of any experimental project, executive doubt. The project was still in pre-production, with concept art, narrative pitches, and a few prototype systems. But it didn't get any further. EA looked at the creative chaos and said, "Alright, this is getting too complicated. Pull it out of the oven before it explodes." And it did explode. The name Terror 5 appeared in leaked internal EA documents, some of which were referenced in developer forums and listed in archived project portfolios from former employees. The game's concept was even mentioned in now-deleted interviews with franchise producers during the transition between the Carbon, Pro Street, and the Run eras. Rumor has it that some of the cinematic chase ideas, helicopter set pieces, camera rotating escape sequences, and explosive moments were later recycled into Need for Speed, The Run, and even Payback. Terror 5 itself? It died before it was born. Imagine the insanity of a Need for Speed game where you're in an illegal race through a futuristic city, and mid-race you have to hack a mobile server, dodge NSA drones, avoid a coordinated car bomb attack, and still win the race to keep your contact with the undercover agent. It would have been a mix of Need for Speed, Watch Dogs, James Bond, and Mirror's Edge. The kind of idea you don't see every day. Maybe that's why it
The kind of idea that will be super bad.
got canceled. Or maybe it was canceled because it was too good to be true.
No, it's too bad to be real.
Before Underground exploded, a project called Need for Speed Urban, or Redline depending on the source, was being secretly developed by EA Vancouver. And it was such a bold concept that it ended up being canceled, but also recycled. Yes, Urban was basically Underground Zero. The original vision, raw street culture. We're talking about 2002, maybe 2003. The Fast and the Furious craze was reaching its peak. EA knew it had to take the Need for Speed franchise in a new direction. That whole thing with exotic cars racing through Swiss trails wasn't cutting it anymore. The new wave was the street. And EA Vancouver started working on a grittier, more aggressive game concept, focused on illegal nighttime street racing in urban environments, heavy tuning with real aftermarket parts, characters from the underground scene, a story with rival street crews, aesthetic inspired by hip-hop, Japanese drift culture, and American warehouse races. All of that with an almost cinematic vibe, but with zero glamour, just engine, grease, and ego.
So
But why
Underground
has no
1?
one heard of it? Because EA never officially announced the project. Urban, or Redline, was one of those cases where the studio starts working on an internal concept, prototyping ideas, sketching out gameplay, but then EA's global creative leadership steps in and decides to shift direction. In the middle of that process, EA Black Box, another Canadian studio, took the lead on the franchise, and the idea behind Urban was absorbed and reshaped. As a result, Urban's essence was resurrected within Underground 1 and 2, which came shortly after. There are a few clues that Urban really existed. You won't find trailers or playable builds, but if you dig carefully through the franchise's backstory, there are traces. City concepts and art styles that closely resemble early development stages of Underground 2, a project codenamed Redline mentioned in internal EA documents, described as an urban culture experiment targeting 6th-gen consoles. A few former EA Vancouver employees have mentioned the game in unofficial interviews, saying the concept wasn't greenlit at the time, but ended up directly influencing what came later. And the abrupt shift from Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit 2 to Underground has never been fully explained. It was too radical a tone and style change in a single year. Coincidence? Even though it was cancelled, Urban left a legacy. The ideas of speaking characters, narrative cutscenes, and a reputation system, all of that was born there. And more. Some theories suggest that unused elements from Underground 2 reappeared years later in Need for Speed Carbon, especially the crew wars and the territory domination narrative structure. If true, Urban influenced 3 games without even officially existing. Urban could have been a turning point for the franchise even before Underground. It might have put EA 2 steps ahead of the competition, and more. It could have set the standard for urban racing games years before Juiced, Midnight Club, or even Tokyo Extreme Racer hit the mainstream. But maybe it came too early. In 2002, EA was still stuck in that European car mindset on Alpine Tracks. A game where you mod a 2001 Civic and street race with neon under the hood sounded insane. Well, insane until Underground sold 15 million copies. You know when EA decides to do something different with a famous franchise? Sometimes it works, sometimes we get Need for Speed Nitro, and sometimes we almost get the most unexpected sequel in the franchise's history.
And that
Need
is...
for Speed Evolution,
What?
also known behind the scenes as Nitro 2. Yes, the Need for Speed that wanted to put the Wii and Nintendo DS at the front of the pack, with
Excuse
stylized
me?
graphics, an explosive soundtrack, and gameplay so arcade it made Hot Pursuit look like an FIA simulator. And for a brief moment, it was actually going to happen. Released in 2009, Need for Speed Nitro was EA's attempt to create a Nintendo-specific version of the franchise.
It was a Nintendo exclusive? I thought it was only for like mobile phones.
And when the Wii and DS were dominating the market, instead of realistic graphics, we got cartoon visuals, vibrant colors, exaggerated proportions, and a vibe more like Mario Kart than most wanted. It had visual customization, races in cities like Rio de Janeiro and Cairo.
What's up, Shadow? I'm watching some shit here.
An upbeat soundtrack, and even a territory domination system where you painted the city in your crew's color by winning races. The game was fast, different, light, and actually fun. Not a blockbuster, but genuinely enjoyable. And then came the plan. Let's make a sequel. After Nitro's release...
Yeah. By the way, this video sounds super like it was powered by ChatGPT or Grok. This scenario sounds so fucking fake. But I have to watch it till the end.
EA actually started working on a follow-up. The working title was Need for Speed Evolution. The idea was to keep the stylized look but push things further. Even more exotic cities, new power-up mechanics, like special abilities, blur style, even wilder customization, races with dynamic...
I'm already recording... my fucking tongue. I'm making a video for YouTube. Once I put this video on YouTube, you will realize why. I already noticed that many times.
Dynamic obstacles, improved local multiplayer with new party modes, total madness. But the kind of madness that could have worked. So, what went wrong? Simple. Sales. Nitro didn't do terribly, but it underperformed by EA's expectations, especially considering the massive Wii install base at the time. On top of that, EA started recentering the franchise. The new direction was focused on more cinematic experiences and stylized realism. Side projects like Nitro lost their place in the roadmap.
When is next stream? It will be on Monday. I will be playing Halo 2.
That Evolution, or Nitro 2, was quietly cancelled before it was ever officially revealed. Today, looking back, Nitro and its cancelled sequel Evolution feel like an alternate timeline for the franchise. One where Need for Speed could have been as stylized as a 2012 Ubisoft game. Giant HUDs, cartoon effects, and cities that looked straight out of a Gorillaz music video. EA left that timeline behind, but some people still remember. And who knows, maybe one day we'll see a spiritual successor rise from that chaos, because the arcade racing scene is hungry for new ideas, and Evolution was exactly that. A wild, promising, original idea. And if you're also the type of person who collects Need for Speed dreams on your mind's hard drive, leave a like, comment on which of these cancelled games you'd like to see released, and subscribe for more videos like this.
I won't subscribe and I won't put a like. I'm putting a fucking dislike because the video is obviously AI generated. I will even leave a comment. Powered by ChatGPT and Grok. And alright, good. And fucking hell. And Grok AI. Oh wait, forgot this video here. This video was powered by ChatGPT and Grok AI. When you have time, DM me to go to play once human together someday. Okay. I think I will DM you tomorrow if I have the time. Anyway, that was the last one for today. Oh yeah, that was the last one for today for me because the 3-hour limit is fighting. Why fucking hitting. Yeah, no worries. Okay. Okay, yeah, that will be it for me streaming today. I will see you, Shadow, tomorrow, I hope. And I will go to sleep because it's nearly fucking midnight. Fucking hell. Okay, bye bye here.